Greetings and salutations, everyone. My name is Kiorkof, and welcome to our Week 11 live stream for the 2021 fantasy football season. I'd like to welcome all of you ladies, gentlemen, children of all ages to the circus that we call Week 11. Again, there are a lot of injuries that are going to, of course, impede our teams from having an incredible amount of success this weekend, but hopefully we'll be able to mitigate that with the variety of other players that are potentially on your roster or on the waivers, and of course give you guys the best overall rosters to start in order to make sure that you can win your Week 11 matchups, get to the playoffs, or potentially help yourself get to that push, maybe secure a first round bye in your playoffs. I don't know. Maybe those of you who play in leagues that have a bye doesn't matter. Either way, the entire purpose for today is to go ahead, answer some questions, talk to you guys, get everybody more confident with the selections they are potentially making. Of course, there's a lot of information that hasn't been given out to the public yet. Of course, I do not know the status of whether or not confirmed Lamar Jackson is going to play. Of course, there's a lot of rumors speculating the potential of him potentially not going due to the illness that he currently has. Obviously, he wants to play. They're going to do their best to do so. Either way, just wanted to go ahead and give you guys a reminder. Everything on this side of the screen, the running back rankings top 36, the wide receiver rankings top 36, followed by the quarterback and tight end rankings top 16 each. Those are up to date as of today, as of literally 5 minutes ago. I finished the Photoshop file after I just updated my rankings and I shoved it in there. So if anything changes in the next couple hours, of course, I will go ahead and I'll update the graphic on screen. Outside of that, everything is up to date and ready to go for today. That is how I would play everything in a half PPR scoring format. For those of you who are in a full PPR scoring format, sure, there are some differences, but they don't differ that greatly to the extent where a Deontay Johnson in a full PPR is not going to still be better than Adam Thielen. It's not going to change, right? Especially for wide receivers when everyone's catching the ball. Sure, there are some PPR guys like a Cole Beasley that might gain value. There are some guys in the receiving game at the running back position like a Leonard Fournette who are capable of catching the ball 4 to 8 times in a singular game that have more value than a James Robinson going in a full PPR based on the exposure to opportunity. But very seldom are there players that are drastically going to make a huge difference there based on a little bit of a switch of the a half to full PPR scoring format. Standard league, it's a little bit different, right? Because the incessant need for a touchdown certainly does play a role there. Either way, just wanted to remind you guys all of that. I appreciate you guys coming out. For those of you who have just already kind of sent in a message, I appreciate that. Just want to remind you, if you end up sending in a message via donation to kind of jump the line, please make sure that you let me know what your scoring format is. Otherwise, I'm just going to blatantly answer it in a half PPR because I'm not aware of your current scoring format. Outside of that, of course, if you guys have not yet already, and you can do me the favor, click the like button down below. Even though it doesn't seem like it's that big of a deal, trust me, it is in terms of the grand scheme of YouTube, their algorithm, and making sure that this channel can continue to grow and bring content to you every single year in this manner. Outside of that, of course, check out Underdog Fantasy. For those of you who haven't yet already, again, if you use promo code Andrew today while signing up, Underdog Fantasies will win a match up to $100 of your first deposit. Again, it's a really generous offer, and there's a lot of fun to be had via Underdog Fantasy. I play multiple times a week, and so does a lot of my family members. It's almost, it's the way of the road at this point in this, this household. So either way, thank you very much. I appreciate that. All right, let's get into this, shall we? Here we go. We're talking about our Week 11 starts, sits, questions coming down the line from everyone. Hopefully, while I answer some of these questions via donation, it will give you more clarity as to potentially your position. So let's get into this. Jeremy Holcomb sends in a question. Says, love the content. Thanks for the help this season. PPR, Gaskin, Barkley, or Jeff Wilson? All right, like I was mentioning, at the running back position, the PPR to half PPR format, sure, some running backs get a little bit of an advantage, but I don't think it's going to be that drastic in this regard. I'm still going to play Saquon Barkley as I have him as my number 16 running back. Sure, there's a little bit of adjustments in full PPR scoring format, but Myles Gaskin is probably going to touch the ball 20 times, but majority of those will be on the ground, especially considering they play against the Jets. Jeff Wilson's definitely a ground player, and Saquon Barkley has the eyes upside in a PPR scoring format. Vita Vea is not going to be there for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm going Saquon this week. Thank you very much, Jeremy. Machu 1031 says, hey man, full PPR sit one. We have Debo, AJ Brown, Jamar Chase, and DeAndre Swift. Okay. Starting Zeke and Eckler. Thank you. All right. If we are sitting one out of that group, I think I feel the most confident potentially sitting DeAndre Swift because there is no Jared Goff. I know Jared Goff has been seen as a player that has probably brought this team down with his performances recently. But I also feel like if the quarterback position, Tim Boyle, isn't able to come in and find immediate success against a defense like the Cleveland Browns, there could be a little bit of an issue there. So in my opinion, I'm going to play in a full PPR Deebo Samuel, A.J. Brown, and Jamar Chase, and I'm going to sit Swift this week. Thank you. Appreciate it. Paul sends in a question, says, I need a flex and a wide receiver too this week. Full PPR. We have Robbie Anderson, Traquan Smith, Darrell Williams, Dallas Goedert. Just made a trade. Jeff Wilson / Jalen Waddle, Emmanuel Sanders for Diggs. My wide receiver one is Cup. Okay, cool. So in this regard, if we're picking a wide receiver two and a flex, the flex in a full PPR is probably going to be Darrell Williams. And then the wide receiver two, in my opinion right now, is going to be Robbie Anderson. I appreciate that, Paul. Thank you very much. All right, Jeff Arnold sends in a question. Says, must win this week, crunch time. Here we go. Can't decide between Jeff Wilson and Hunter Renfrow in the flex position. Then Kyler replacement, either Cam, Fields, or Jimmy G. All right, let's get to this replacing of... Well, okay, let's talk about the replacement of the quarterback position. I don't expect Kyler Murray to play. That is why currently on screen, you do not see him ranked within the top 16 quarterbacks going into this Sunday slate of games. So my expectation is that they're going to hold him out. If that continues to be true, of the three options that you've mentioned, I prefer Cam, then Jimmy G, then Justin Fields in that exact order. And that is how I would play it going into this week. Thank you. Now, in terms of your other question, Jeff Wilson Jr. versus Hunter Renfrow, I think in a half PPR scoring format, it does lean in the direction of the running back because he's getting guaranteed touches. Let's say, for example, Hunter Renfrow catches the ball 7 times. That's great and all, but that's only 3.5 fantasy points. He's going to have to make a lot of work happen through the air, and he's going to have to find the end zone to be a better player than Jeff Wilson this given week, considering there is no JaMychal Hasty. There's likely to be an inactive Mitchell this week, and Trey Sermon has seen no love from Kyle Shanahan. This is going to be a Jeff Wilson afternoon, and I think he's going to have himself a great game. So Jeff Wilson over Renfrow there. Thank you very much, Jeff. Appreciate that. Joey sends in a question. Says, got some injuries. So running backs, we have Williams or Peterson. My tight ends are Knox or Conklin. Okay, cool. So let's talk about this really quickly. I did mention this to someone who messaged me on Patreon earlier this week. In regards to the tight end position, when we talk about Knox versus a Conklin, they're almost identical in the idea that they both require a touchdown to be fantasy relevant. But Conklin does have himself the ability, or has shown in the last couple weeks, he can get it done just scoring about 7 to 8 points with catches and yardage. That's it. And if you're okay with the safe floor there, then that's fine. But though many of you did get burnt by Dawson Knox last week, he did have a touchdown in which the defender literally pulled him down in the end zone. Defensive pass interference. Like there's so many things that go in the direction of players that you don't see after the game is over, or if you don't watch every single play. I think Dawson Knox is the better overall player here in this regard. He's got the better matchup, and the touchdown upside is certainly there. As for Williams and Peterson, I'm going to play Darrell Williams. Peterson's great, but again, he's going to have to fight with Jeremy McNichols and Donta Foreman in order to make sure that he is fantasy relevant. And he's certainly going to find he's definitely going to have to find the end zone. I don't know why that stuttered there. He's going to definitely have to find the end zone in order to be a fantasy relevant prospect. So I'd rather just have Williams, who certainly can have that done just via PPR and catch the ball a couple times and be relevant. Thank you. All right. NYI Hayden says, we have flex half PPR, Ayuk, Bateman, or Alex Collins. At this moment, if Lamar Jackson is playing, I am playing Rashad Bateman there at your flex position. If we get word that, in fact, Lamar Jackson is not going to play and the backup quarterback will be in, I would play Alex Collins. Thank you very much, Hayden. Appreciate that. All right, let's see here. The next question is from Michael. Michael, thank you very much for the donation. Says full PPR. Start 3 of these. Okay, we have to find a replacement for one of them. We have A.J. Brown, Emmanuel Sanders, or Jonathan Agnew. Waiver adds Traquan Smith, Donovan Peoples-Jones. Based on what I've read this morning, Donovan Peoples-Jones is not going to be playing. And then we have Crowder, same league as Lamar and Joe Burrow. I mean, look, if Lamar's playing, I'm going to roll him out there. So, I mean, that is up to you in regards to whether or not you feel comfortable rolling with him if he is not fully quote-unquote healthy. with that said, now in terms of your other position, full PPR, obviously you play AJ Brown. That's a no-brainer. You play Emmanuel Sanders in between like a Traquan Smith, Jamison Crowder, or Agnew. To be totally honest, I feel like in a full PPR, you could find just as much safety in a Jonathan Agnew as you can Crowder and Traquan Smith. So I just leave it as is. I think Traquan is fine. He's not going to get as many targets, I don't think. I mean, he hasn't really as of late. He's probably, if he gets lucky, going to get like 3 catches, 4 catches. Really doesn't make a difference there. He's got to score a touchdown, which is sketchy in itself. So I just go and play Agnew at that regard, and just leave it as is. Michael, thank you. All right, there's another Joey that sends in a question. This is Joey Rinaldi. Says, full PPR, do I start Swift or Elliott? I'd play Elliott there. Thank you very much. Miles, MC13 says, Jeff Wilson Jr., Darrell Williams, or Michael Pittman in a PPR? That's a really good question. I think I'm still going to play Jeff Wilson there. I like Michael Pittman a lot, but I think Jeff Wilson is just a superior play overall based on the opportunity he's going to see this afternoon. It is a run-first offense there in San Francisco. The fact that they play Jacksonville is even better. They looked incredible against the Rams last week, and I think that momentum is just going to continue to carry on as they'll be running through teams. So I play Jeff Wilson there, then Pittman, then Darrell Williams in that order. Thank you. Jeremy Williams says, pick 2, Montgomery, Wilson, Ingram in a standard format. That makes a pretty big difference. So if we're playing purely in a standard format, I think I have to, at that point, maybe we downgrade Mark Ingram just a slight bit. Is he? Yeah, I think I would. So in a standard format, I would play David Montgomery and Jeff Wilson, and I would have Mark Ingram as a lesser play. I think what really separates Wilson from these other Ingram from these other prospects are his contributions in the receiving game. He's probably going to catch the ball 5+ times today, and maybe even more depending on how this game script kind of revolves around this team. So for right now, I'd play Montgomery and Wilson in a standard. Thank you. All right, let's see here. Pedro sends it a question. It says, standard, pick 3. We have Pittman, Deontay Johnson. We have Devonta Smith and T. Higgins. All right. In a standard scoring format, when we're purely looking for touchdown upside and or like kind of that base floor of yardage to pretty much carry us, it becomes a little tough here. Because overall, I would probably think it's relatively safe to just avoid the tougher matchup like a Pittman, but I think I still want to play him. So I'm going to probably say in a standard scoring format, do I want to avoid Deontay Johnson? This is actually a tough one because it's purely just who's going to score the tutty. Because my rankings would theoretically say, in a half PPR scoring format, that we'd most likely go ahead and play everyone above T. Higgins. But I feel like T. Higgins is actually safer in a standard format in regards to yards. Yeah, you know what? No, okay. Let's just play it normally. Let's play Pittman. Let's play Deontay. Let's play Smith. T. Higgins has got upside, but I don't want to trust him more than these other guys that have just already proven themselves time in and time out. So let's just leave Higgins on the bench. Let's see what he can end up doing for us. And if he can end up proving something this week, then maybe in next week we'll consider him a little bit more. Thank you, Pedro. Justin says, good morning, Andrew. Do I sit Pittman for Emmanuel Sanders? Absolutely not. I do not want to play Emmanuel Sanders over Pittman. I'm good with playing Pittman against Buffalo, no problem. Skizzy says, half PPR Bateman over Ayuk, even if Lamar doesn't play. No. If Lamar doesn't play, I don't want to really suggest Bateman. But, where do you even have Ayuk? I think my Ayuk ranking is really low. So I think actually, technically, I probably have Bateman a little bit higher. My Brandon Ayuk ranking is 44 at wide receiver. I don't think I'm going to drop Bateman down to 44. So, yeah, right now, if Lamar still doesn't play, I think I'd still run Bateman out there because, again, he'd still be the number 1 wide receiver in that respective offense. So, yeah, I just don't want to deal with Ayuk. Somebody made an incredible comment last week where they said, do I play Zach Moss versus the Jets or do I play Brandon Ayuk versus Kyle Shanahan? And that's really what it's been. Kyle Shanahan is just not really incorporating him in the offense enough to get him to that next level. So for right now, we'll just go ahead and play Bateman, regardless of whether or not Lamar is at full go. Sebastian in the chat says, any news on Lamar? As soon as I get, any sort of update, I will, of course, update the rankings on screen. But until then, everything seems like they're trying to make sure that he plays today. We'll see how it goes. He's there at the stadium. He's ready. He's in the locker room. We'll see how it, kind of figures itself out. Steven sends in a question. Says, half PPR. I need a running back, a wide receiver, and a flex out of Foreman, Mike Williams, Darrell Williams, Gallup, and Waddle. Saquon is my other running back, and Tyreek Hill is my other wide receiver. All right, cool. So in terms of picking a lineup for this week, I'm fairly confident rolling out. Do I have... I got to actually check my flex rankings, but I'm fairly certain as to what I'm going to go with. Where's my flex rankings? Let's confirm this. Okay. So for right now, I'd play Darrell Williams at running back, and I'd play Gallup as wide receiver and Waddle at your flex, or vice versa. It doesn't matter. I prefer Gallup and Waddle over Mike Williams this week, and I prefer Darrell over Foreman, and I prefer both of those wide receivers over the Foreman play at the flex position there. So those are my 3 suggestions, Steven. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Leonidas 707 says, Christian Kirk or Corey Davis in the flex. Who do you think will have a better game, CEH or Darrell Williams? Half PPR format. Okay, I do think that Darrell Williams will have a better game than CEH, purely based on the fact that he'll touch the ball more. Because in the last couple of weeks, he's, of course, been given a lot of exposure to opportunity in the absence of it, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And obviously, they're probably going to try to slowly but surely kind of implement CEH into this offense. I doubt we get into a scenario in which he jumps right in and has 25 touches today. I think this is going to be a 60-40, maybe even 65-35 split in which Darrell Williams is dominating the touches and the snap count today. Now, as for your prior question, Christian Kirk versus Corey Davis, I do prefer Christian Kirk even if Kyler Murray doesn't play. Mainly because of the unknown commodity that Joe Flacco really is at the quarterback position. He's a veteran. He can get the job done. He could score garbage time points. We've seen that from last week, and we've seen that from 2020 when he played for the New York Jets as a starting quarterback. He's definitely capable of doing so. Whether or not he's able to get the ball to Corey Davis and get him, established enough in comparison to Christian Kirk with a Colt McCoy, I'd rather just play Christian Kirk. I think the offense is just that much more superior, or at least that much more competitive this week, regardless of matchup. So I'd play Christian Kirk there. Thank you very much, Leonidas. Okay, let's see here. Really quickly, just want to remind all of you, again, if you are just hopping into the chat, make sure you click the like button down below. Again, it may seem like an insignificant thing, but it surely does help this channel out and help grow every single week so I can continue to do this, kind of content for you guys. Of course, everything to the left side of the screen over here is updated as of this morning. If any news is to come out regarding players that are potentially going to miss, I will adjust the rankings and then repost them. Otherwise, everything is how I would play it on the left side of the screen in a half PPR scoring format. My top 36 running backs and wide receivers, top 16 quarterbacks and tight ends, my predictions as to who is going to win this upcoming week. I just realized that I didn't put what my record was this week in terms of, or this season in terms of predictions. I'll be sure to, if I have to make an update, I have to do the math, but hopefully next week I'll just go ahead and start. Actually, it won't be even next week. It'll be next Thursday because there are 3 games. We'll be live streaming next Thursday morning, getting you guys ready. But either way, just wanted to remind you guys all that. Okay. Phil sends in a question. Says, I need help with Kupp on a bye. 2 wide receivers out. We have A.J. Brown, Hunter Renfrow, Corey Davis, Emmanuel Sanders, Rashad Bateman. Thanks for the help. If, in fact, Lamar's playing, I am playing Bateman along with A.J. Brown. If we do not see a game in which Rashad Bateman is playing, I would play A.J. Brown with Hunter Renfrow. Thank you very much, Phil. Good luck this week. All right, let's see here. Sandy sends in a question, says, Andrew, how long do I hang on to Antonio Brown? To be honest, if he comes back next week, you're in a pretty good position. So you'll be fine there. But if you can't afford to hold on to him, I would say trade him because he has too much value to drop. I think dropping him would just be doing somebody else in your league a favor. As for your next question, you said Goddard or Freiermuth this week. I do prefer Pat Freiermuth with the return of Ben Roethlisberger to the starting lineup for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I'd play Fryer there. Flex pick 1, Fournette, Montgomery, Waddle, full PPR. Okay. Between those 3, I would play Leonard Fournette. I think he's got incredible upside in terms of overall receptions and getting a bunch of work on the ground against a very easy matchup. I think the New York Giants are giving up the 7th most points to running backs per week. Great overall matchup there. And in your final question, Joe Burrow or Russell Wilson, I would play Joe Burrow. Thank you very much. All right. Thank you, Sandy. I appreciate that. Moving on. Joey Rinaldi sends in another question. It says Ezekiel Elliott or Jalen Hurts or Dak Prescott and DeAndre Swift. So we're talking about a potential trade here. Which side would I rather have? I mean, in a vacuum, rest of season, I would probably take Ezekiel Elliott's side. Thank you, Joey. Appreciate that. KJ sends in a question. Says, Justin Jefferson, Stephon Diggs, Debo Samuel, Pittman Jr., Bateman. Pick 3. I'm playing Diggs, Debo, and Jefferson. Easy. Doesn't matter. Send it. Those are literally 3 of my top, 6? No, actually, it's probably like 3 of my top 8 overall wide receivers this week. Yeah. Those are smash plays every time. You don't even have to worry about them, KJ. Thank you. Valentin Garcia says, start 1. We have Austin Eckler, James Conner, A.J. Dillon, David Montgomery. Sit 1. Okay. So if we're sitting 1 out of that group, I'm sitting David Montgomery. I'm playing Austin Eckler, James Conner, and A.J. Dillon. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yeah, for sure. I'm going to sit David Montgomery in that regard. Cinco2X says, where did it go? It updated, and I lost the message. Now I'm going to scroll back up and hopefully find it. Here we go. Cinco. A lot of injuries this week. Start 2. Jamison Crowder, Marvin Jones, Cedric Wilson, full PPR. I'd play Jamison Crowder and Marvin Jones. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Johnny sends in a question. Says, pick 1 full PPR. Waddle, Gallup, Barkley, Jeff Wilson, Devonta Smith. I think I want to play Barkley there. If you want a safe play and you don't want to have to worry about tomorrow, then you can certainly get away with probably rolling out a player like Waddle and just finding safety in that regard and just catching the ball maybe 6 times for 60 yards. But unless he scores a touchdown, I don't think he's going to be a better play than Saquon. So my current position is I'm going to play Saquon Barkley there. If you want the second highest ranked player in that regard, it'd probably be, if we're playing Barkley there, it would probably be in a full PPR scoring format. Waddle, then maybe Jeff Wilson, Devonta Smith, then Gallup. Thank you very much, Johnny. I appreciate that. Phil sends in another question. Says, my running backs are Christian McCaffrey, Jacobs, and Connor. Do I use these 3 with my flex? Okay. Which one of my wide receivers from the previous question? Okay, let's see here. So if you're playing Christian McCaffrey, Jacobs, and Connor, and in your prior question had Corey Davis and Emmanuel Sanders and Rashad Bateman. So, no, I mean, I would play those 3 backs. I would use your flex position to play one of those running backs. So, you played Christian McCaffrey and Connor as your RB1 and 2. You play Jacobs as the flex, play A.J. Brown, and then, of course, determining whether or not Bateman or Renfro based on whether or not Lamar Jackson is active, and you're good to go there, Phil. Thank you. A. Daniel says, with the Steelers not having J.J. Watt, Joe Hayden, and Minka Fitzpatrick, let's see here. Is Herbert a viable option, or should I switch to Hurts against the New Orleans Saints? Half PPR, thanks. I mean, to be honest, I think regardless of what is out there for the Steelers, Justin Herbert's a viable option. I have him at number 9, only because as of late, there's been a push in which a lot of his touchdowns are becoming handoffs and quickly siphoning his fantasy points down on the goal line. So for right now, I mean, I would play Hurts, but if you want to go ahead and play, Justin Herbert against the Steelers, by all means, you absolutely can. It's not too, much of a difference between my number 6 quarterback and my number 9 quarterback to where I'm 100% solidified with one of them over the other. I think you could play either and find a lot of success this week. But if you want my suggestion, it's on the screen there with Jalen Hurts in a 4-point per passing touchdown league. Thank you. All right, let's see. Is there any updates on Lamar? Anything? Probably not. I'll probably get some sort of notification on my phone. Okay, moving on. KJ sends in a question. It says Steelers or Bucks defense this week. I would play the Bucks defense this week. Thank you. Moving on. Gucci Han Louis Han says, Andrew, my guy, I asked about Mahomes and Russ last week, and I went with Mahomes. Haha, full PPR. Do I roll out David Montgomery, Lenny, Chubb, or do I plug in T? Do I roll with David Montgomery, Leonard Fournette, and Nick Chubb, or do I plug in T Higgins? I play the 3 running backs. I have no incentive to play T Higgins over any of them. I mean, the guaranteed touches, the goal line work, the receptions out of the backfield, the great matchups. I'm just rolling with those running backs. Let's do it. And this week, to play Mahomes. All right, moving on. EJ Rodriguez says, salutations, full PPR. Need 1 running back and a flex. We have Saquon, Josh Jacobs, DJ Moore, and we have Rashad Bateman. Okay. We have Saquon, Jace Jacobs. Okay, we need one running back and one flex. All right, cool. I'm playing Saquon Barkley there, and I'm playing DJ Moore at the flex in a full PPR. Thank you very much, EJ. Matthew sends it a question. Says Cam or Lamar Jackson, half PPR, Gronk, Singletary, or Alex Collins. All right, so between Cam and Lamar Jackson, again, if Lamar Jackson is playing and is active, he is in my lineup. Now, the chances are, like Ivan just said in the chat, Lamar's status will be revealed 30 minutes before kickoff per NFL Insider. Exactly. Because that's when the inactive list is revealed to the public. So once that is made kind of public to us, we'll go ahead and we'll figure it out accordingly. Outside of that, so you'll know if Lamar's active, you're playing him. Otherwise, you move to Cam. As for your second question, Gronk, Singletary, and Alex Collins, I'd play Alex Collins. I think there's not enough touches for Singletary to have a stable overall game unless he gets himself a touchdown. Gronk's the same way, and he's questionable. I don't even know if he's going to play on Monday. So I'd rather just play the starting running back at this position, which is Alex Collins. Thank you. Moving on. Willem Flowers says, Rashad Bateman or Jeff Wilson? I would play Jeff Wilson 10 times out of 10 over Rashad Bateman this week. Thank you. Gucci Har Louis Han says, one more, my guy. In another standard league, can you pick three between Saquon, Mark Ingram, and the two Kansas City running backs? I'd play Saquon, Mark Ingram, and Darrell Williams. I would leave CEH on the bench this week. Thank you. By the way, just want to remind you guys, because Ryan in the chat asked Mike Evans or DK Metcalf. Over here on this side of the screen, we have my updated rankings. At this current moment in time, DK Metcalf is my number 10 overall wide receiver, followed by Mike Evans, my number 11, which would answer your question in that regard. Again, if you guys are looking for those answers, they are on screen. Outside of that, I will be answering questions that are sent via donation because there are a lot of you here, and I wouldn't be able to answer every single one. People are jumping the line. In doing so, I appreciate it. Thank you very much for supporting. Be sure to click the like button. There's about 900 of you in here. Only got 230 likes. I'm telling you guys, it does make this channel grow that much more with every single like. You may think, my like's not going to make a difference. I can assure you it really does in the entire grand scheme of the YouTube algorithm. I've talked to people. I've done this game for a couple years now. I know how much it helps. So I would really appreciate that if you guys could click that button. Thank you. All right, let's see here. Cardinal says, here we go. What's his question? Okay. Who has a safer floor in a half PPR scoring format? Do we have D'Ernest Johnson, Corey Davis, or Chase Claypool? I think the safest floor is Corey Davis, and that's where I would probably go with because he has just as much upside as these other gentlemen. Mainly because D'Ernest Johnson is probably going to have to sit in a situation where he needs the garbage time touches to throw him over the edge. As for a Claypool, he hasn't really done anything for a while now, and I don't expect him to change that. So I just play Corey Davis, and he's the safest option. All right, let's see here. Everyone in the chat is saying Lamar is out. Says Ian Rappaport as of 40 seconds ago. Says Lamar Jackson illness will be out. Tyler Huntley slated to get the start. All right, cool. Give me a moment, please, as I go ahead and I need to adjust this accordingly. So one moment. I'll get there in a second. All right, so let's go here. So for the next about, I'd say, a couple minutes, I'm going to be focusing on adjusting this graphic. So forgive me if I stop answering questions. I want to go ahead and do this, the right way. Okay, we have this. Okay, all right, cool. So we'll leave it at that. So let's go ahead and we need to get this graphic, open up my Photoshop. All right, while my Photoshop is firing up on this slow computer, let's see what we got here via questions. Alex sends in a question. Says, I need a wide receiver 2. Start McLaurin, Mike Williams, or Bateman. Thanks, best fantasy content, Andrew. I would play McLaurin. Bateman and Williams will be lower in my rankings. Thank you. Richard Castillo says, Darrell Williams or Landry in a half PPR flex. I would play Darrell Williams there. Thank you. James Joyner sends in a question. Says, Bills or Dolphins defense this week? If I'm not mistaken, let me go check my rankings for defense. My Miami defense is number 2. Okay, so this is my top 3 defenses for the week. Here's my top 5 defenses for the week. Tennessee I had the New England Patriots as my number 2 defense. So originally on Thursday, I had it Tennessee, New England Patriots, Miami, Buffalo, Cleveland, San Francisco as my top 6. So that should give you some clarity as to where I would go in that regard. Thank you, James Joyner. I appreciate that. All right, let me go open this graphic in Photoshop so I can remove Lamar from that. Downgrade Mark Andrews and Rashad Bateman just a tad bit here. We'll see how this goes. Okay, this is really slow. Let that keep rolling. Let's go back to these questions. Joey Andrews sends in a question, says pick 2 in a full PPR. Michael Pittman, Mark Andrews, Saquon Barkley, Devonta Booker, or Dalton Schultz. All right, if we're picking 2 out of that group of players, I am probably playing the safest of the bunch, which is Mark Ingram and Saquon Barkley. If Saquon doesn't go on Monday, which I highly doubt is going to be the case, you have Booker to fill in his spot, but you're good to go either way. Mark Ingram, Saquon, those are my 2 suggestions there, Joey. You're good to go. PT Morris says flex, CEH, Miles Sanders, Elijah Moore. All right, if I'm picking one out of those 3 options, especially if you're in a half PPR scoring format, I think half or even full, I think I'm just going to play Elijah Moore. I mean, it's just so sketchy to play these running backs considering I don't know what workload they're going to see because they're coming back into lineups when they were the starter and now they're most likely going to be, playing in a backup role or splitting snaps altogether. So Elijah Moore in a full PPR is probably the best. In a half PPR standard, you go with CEH. And you just trust the offense to maybe get him more involved. And then your following notes regarding that says Dalvin and Dylan are my running backs, Debo, DJ, and Waddle are my wide receivers. Yeah, I would just suggest it as such. So if it's full, we go Elijah. Otherwise, you just play CEH in a standard half. All right. So let me go to this Photoshop file here. Everybody, give me a moment to go ahead and get this done. So Lamar Jackson at 4 needs to get removed. We got to move everybody up one spot here. Then we'll take Justin Fields, is going to be our number 17 now. Or from number 17, he's going to go to 16. And then we're going to go ahead and... Am I downgrading Ravens running backs? I mean, I don't think I have to. Khalil Mack is still out. I think I can move... Yeah, I think I'm just going to leave Devonta Freeman there. I don't think it makes that big of a difference. I mean, are they even going to find the end zone? All right, we'll figure that out in a second. Let me move Mr. Mark Andrews down a little bit here. I think Mark Andrews gets a little bit of a decline, to say the very least, to an extent to where he's probably at the same level as like a TJ Hawkinson going forward here, to where he has the backup quarterback. He'll get the targets, that's for sure, but the quality of them won't be as high. So we've upgraded quarterback that. Okay, let's look at wide receiver real quick. Where's Mr. Bateman here? We had Bateman originally at 23. That guy, I mean, he's got to be downgraded a pretty good margin here. So we'll move him down. We'll move him here. Do I want to even play Bateman over Robbie Anderson at number 36? Or do I want to play him over Kenny Golladay? Yeah, probably not. I just don't even know what this back... I mean, I've seen this backup quarterback for the Ravens. I've seen him play. He looks a lot like Lamar. Like, in everything that they do, there's a reason why they have him as the backup, because he fills in perfectly. But I don't know if he's got the arm talented to let this offense kind of pick up where they would be theoretically leaving off, which is concerning. So we'll leave it at that. We'll leave the running back position as such. That's not a big deal. That's fine. Okay, cool. Let's save this graphic. Let's bring it over here. Thank you for being patient, everyone. Of course, the Lamar Jackson news definitely does prompt me to go ahead and adjust rankings, because there is a huge implication in terms of if he is not active in that lineup, they certainly don't have as good of a team. We've seen that last year from his absence in some of those games where, Robert Griffin III had to step in. Of course, they've found success without him in the lineup at times, but they've also been, a shell of themselves in that same regard. Okay. So I believe, based on what I just did, the graphic on screen should be up to date. So Justin Fields is now at number 16. Rashad Bateman is off the top 36 and off the scene. I might consider him as like a number 36 option, but I'm not confident enough to 100% say Rashad Bateman is going to be an automatic success, because I don't know what that quarterback position is going to hold for us. So with that said, I got to go answer some more questions here, and we'll try to get my clearer thoughts regarding this as we persist. Thank you very much, guys, for letting me know in the chat We continue. Let's see here. So we answered Joey Andrews' question. We did PT Morris's question. We're moving on. Gucci Han Louis Han says Muth or Andrews in a full PPR. Now that we've established this recent news, we're playing Muth. Thank you. Anthony says, should I drop Tennessee's defense and pick up the Ravens this week? No. I play Tennessee. They're my number one defense on the week. Muth or Conklin, says Pedro. I'd play Friar Muth there. Thank you. William sends in a question, says, yo, Andrew, full PPR. Donta Foreman, breakout day, question mark, exclamation point, or Alex Collins. Yeah, for sure, Donta Foreman, for sure. Or drop Foreman for Jeff Wilson. I think Jeff Wilson is a significantly better play today. If you need the win, if you have to win today, then you make the swap there. Otherwise, I think Foreman probably helps you more rest of season because Mitchell will likely return next week. So play that as to how much of a desperate win this is in your eyes. I think every win's important, but maybe you're 8-2 and it doesn't matter. Appreciate it, William. Michael Bell sends in a question. Says flex spot, Gallup, Wilson, Tony, full PPR. I'd play Wilson, Gallup, and Tony in that order. So Jeff Wilson's my suggestion there, Michael. Appreciate it. Ben Power sends in a question. Ramondre over Pitts last week. Saved my day. Thanks. This week, standard, Devonta Freeman or Clyde Edwards-Helaire? Oh, gosh. We're getting with these questions, huh? The really difficult ones. The ones where it's literally a coin toss. Because that's what it is. I think Devonta Freeman and Clyde Edwards is a coin toss. Because Devonta Freeman's definitely going to get the ball probably 15 times today. But it's a matter of whether or not they're able to succeed even without Lamar in that lineup. Which I think it's very capable that they do. For right now, I don't know what to expect from Clyde Edwards. So I'm going to, in a regular standard format, especially when you can't get any points from a PPR upside, I'm going Devonta Freeman there. I appreciate that, Ben. Juan Vaca Ramirez says, PPR, wide receiver 2, DK Metcalf or Jamar Chase. I play Jamar Chase there. Already have Mixon in my lineup. Doesn't matter. I want to play the best player regardless of what team they're on. PPR flex, Mike Williams, Landry, Darrell Williams. I would play DK Metcalf as your flex. Well, is it a different league? If it's a different league and you don't have DK Metcalf for your flex, I'll answer that question regardless. I would play, if it's between Mike Williams, Landry, and Darrell Williams, I play Mike Williams there. So it would be Chase, Mike Williams. If DK Metcalf's in that league, then I play him at the flex. Thank you. Kareem sends in a question. Says flex, full PPR. Mark Ingram, Waddle, DJ Moore, Lockett, Jeff Wilson Jr. All right, out of that group in a full PPR scoring format, Mark Ingram is my favorite by far. So if we have to flex one out of that group, it's going to be Mark Ingram. Thank you. Appreciate it, Kareem. Javier Hernandez says, half PPR, 6 points for touchdown. Okay. Pick 2, Ingram, Jeff Wilson, Deontay Johnson, Renfro. Currently have Christian McCaffrey and Cook, and Keenan Allen and AJ Brown. P.S. It's my birthday. Happy birthday, Javier. Have a beautiful day. My gift to you, and hopefully the gift that the universe is going to give to you as you've surrounded the sun this many times, is hopefully going to be playing Mark Ingram and Jeff Wilson. I would honestly sit Deontay Johnson and Renfro in this regard in a half PPR scoring format. Play the 2 stud running backs that are, they're backups, but they're good backups, and have them, ball out for you on this wonderful Sunday. All right, moving on. We have Joel Barron sending in a question, but there wasn't a message attached to it. Let's see if I can find your name in the chat. Okay, you sent in a message a little bit later. Okay, we'll come on down to that in a little bit. RJ sends in a question. It says pick 2 PPR: Corey Davis, Emmanuel Sanders, Donta Foreman, Michael Gallup. If I'm picking 2, I'm picking Donta Foreman and Michael Gallup there. Thank you very much, RJ. I appreciate that. Howard Jameson says half PPR, pick 2: Brandon Cooks, Adam Thielen, Michael Gallup. If I'm picking 2 out of that group, similar to the way that it is on screen right here, we will have Brandon Cooks as my number 18 wide receiver. We have we have Adam Thielen at number 22 and Michael Gallup at number 23. So, in that regard, we're playing Cooks and Thielen. But very so slightly behind Thielen is Michael Gallup. I respect the amount of opportunity he's going to get, and the matchup is definitely primed and ready for him, but these other 2 options are just as good, if not better, in my opinion. So, going into this week, I would play Cooks and Thielen. Thank you. Let's see here. Again, guys, for those of you who are wondering questions regarding players that are in a half PPR against one another, it is all over there on screen. We just updated it because, of course, the Lamar Jackson news that was just divulged to us. So if you're looking for that information, it is on screen. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. All right, let's see here. Alex S. in the chat says, in a standard league, pick 2. Gallup, Bateman, Davis. Okay, so let's do that standard league. If it's between those 3 players, I'm playing Davis and Gallup. Done. Full PPR. Renfro, Kirk, Jeff Wilson. If I'm picking 2 out of that group, I play Renfro and Jeff Wilson. Thank you very much, Alex. I appreciate it. Thank you. Joel Barron. Here we go. Should I start Jones, Heineke, Baker, or Flacco? Wow. Okay. I'm pretty sure I have Baker as my highest ranked quarterback after. Yeah. So I have Baker, then Jones, then Heineke, then Flacco in that exact order. So I'd play Baker in that regard. I appreciate it, Joel. Moving on. Not Steve Rogers says, Foreman or Bateman, full PPR. I would play Donta Foreman. Thank you. Germ says, content. A-okay. Thank you very much. Kamara is out. I have Pollard. Start him, question mark? I mean, there's no other option that you're giving me, so yeah, you start him. I mean, that's it. There's no other option. You didn't say anything else about any other players, so we let it roll. Where the heck did you... Okay, here we go. Germ, thank you. Anton Palmer says, need a flex. Claypool, McKissick, Miles Sanders, Zach Moss, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I'm starting Darrell Williams already. Ooh, all right. Well, if it's in a half PPR scoring format and we're starting another player beside Darrell Williams, where are we going? I mean, am I playing Claypool over these running backs? Probably not. Claypool's just kind of been too sketchy as of late. He's coming off of an injury as well. So out of those respective running backs, I'm probably playing Clyde. But do you want to play both Kansas City running backs? That's a question that is definitely not an easy one to answer. Damn. I think you have to. I think you just play both of those running backs just to make sure that you've equipped yourself with the ability to at least get all the points out of that backfield. I think that's just the safest way to go. I mean, the next best option would be Zach Moss, but he has to fall into the end zone. Otherwise, you're just hoping and praying that he catches the ball 5 times out of just pure luck in game script. Thank you. Moving on. Ryan D says, Panthers or Dolphins defense this week? Freeman or Collins? Okay. That's rest of season question. Okay, so Dolphins or Panthers defense? I prefer playing the Dolphins defense today against the Jets. Follow up, Freeman or Collins rest of season? If in fact Lamar's in the lineup, which he will be in the future, I do prefer Freeman. I don't think Alex Collins really has done anything as of late to prove that he is at the level of some of these other running backs. And it's just, he's not getting much PPR work. He's pretty much touchdown dependent. It's not a great scenario over there in Seattle out of that backfield. Moving on. Big Moose says, I'm going back and forth between Connor and Diggs in my flex position. My RB 1 and 2 are Dillon and Cook. My wide receiver 1 and 2 are CD and Hill. Woo. Okay. Well, listen. If you're playing in a half or a full PPR scoring format, I am comfortable playing Stephon Diggs against the Indianapolis Colts secondary that have been one of the worst in the National Football League, giving up the 5th most points to opposing wide receivers, over James Conner. Now, James Conner looked great a couple weeks back when he had that incredible 30-plus point performance, but I doubt that's going to be a similar case this week as they take on a very tough Seattle Seahawks defense. I think Diggs is the best play in that regard, and that's what I would suggest and go with. Thank you. Rockout says, 2 flexes, Michael Carter, Kirk, Bateman, Jeff Wilson, full PPR. I'm playing both running backs there. I play Michael Carter and Jeff Wilson Jr. Rockout. Thank you. Alex S. sends in another question. Lamar or Burrow? Worried about Lamar if he plays. He's not playing. You're good to go, Alex. So you play Burrow. Moving on. Pyro Hype 323 says, start a Christian McCaffrey, Mixon, Adams, Jefferson, Lamb in the flex. Ingram and Dillon are on my bench. Are you good with that in a full PPR scoring format? Let me look at this. Christian McCaffrey, Mixon, Adams, Jefferson, and Lamb. Let me check my full PPR flex rankings in a second here. Let's scroll over. So we have Where are those two running backs again? We have Ingram and Dillon. Where do I have Dillon in a full PPR? Dillon's here, and he is behind all those other wide receiver options you mentioned. So yes, I am 100% fine rolling with exactly how you have it. That's what I would suggest, Pyro. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Berlin B says, why is Bills defense higher than Tennessee? They're not. Like I just mentioned in a couple seconds ago, I have Tennessee, Miami, Buffalo, Cleveland, San Francisco. Those are my top 5 of the week. I have Carolina at 6, for those of you who are wondering. So that's the answer. Thank you. Moving on. Mike Jimenez says, pick one. Marquez Callaway, Robbie Anderson, Kenny Golladay, Marvin Jones. Out of that group of players, I played Kenny Golladay and Robbie Anderson back to back. I'd specifically prefer Kenny Golladay in that regard. Thank you. Eric Wormsley says, full PPR, flex, Bateman, Deontay Johnson need ceiling. I'm playing Deontay. Lamar's out. Thank you. Guns and Butter sends in a question or sends in a donation, but there wasn't a message attached to it. Guns, let me see if I can find anything in the chat. Guns, if you could do me a favor, if you're still around, send something into the chat right now, whatever your question was regarding, because it didn't attach to your overall donation. Thank you. Mark Straw sends in a question. Pittman or Deontay Johnson this week? Appreciate you. I would play Deontay Johnson. Thank you. Jesse Aldridge also sent in a question. Let's see. Or sent in a donation, but there wasn't a message attached to it. Let's see, Jesse. Is there anything here? Jesse Aldridge says, Cam or Josh Allen? I'd play Josh Allen, 100%. Jesse, you're good to go there. Okay, so we're looking for Guns if he's going to send anything in. Moving on. Dami says, Darrell Williams or Gibson in a half PPR. I would rather play Antonio Gibson this week. Even with CEH, it feels like Darrell Williams has a higher floor. Am I overthinking it? Also have Mahomes, if that means anything. Doesn't mean anything to me. I think Gibson has more potential for upside based on, in fact, this is probably going to be a matchup between Kansas City and the Dallas Cowboys. That is a relative shootout. Now, certainly both teams will be running the ball, but the capacity of scoring, multiple touchdowns on the ground or getting himself 9 catches like he did last week is certainly going to be something of a difficult factor to try to catch up on. So in this regard, I think Gibson, his performance last week kind of re-energizes the team. I've talked about it all season long. I don't think that the Carolina Panthers are that good of a run-stopping defense. Their schedule has just been easy. They haven't played against that many good running backs. So overall, Gibson's that guy. They got Brandon Scherf back last week. They ran all over Tampa Bay. I think they're a great play. That's why I'm going with Gibson. So Guns didn't send anything, huh? Okay. Well, appreciate the donation, my guy. I'm gonna have to keep it. I'm gonna have to move on, and won't be able to come back to that. Phil says, I'm starting a lot of Raiders today. If Lamar is out, which he is, Renfro, Jacobs, and Waller. Hope it pays off. Also got Titans defense and Bullock. All right, you're good to go. I mean, though you are starting a lot of Raiders, that Cincinnati defense, like I talked about, let me go find this Bengals schedule. I'm pretty sure in the last couple weeks they've given up like 70 total points. What's the stat here? Against the Jets, they give up 34 points. Against the Browns, they give up 41 points. So just in the last 2 games alone, they've given up 75 total points as a defense. So I think there's a very good chance that your Raiders end up having themselves a great week here, Phil. Good luck. Dan says, flex. A half PPR, McLaurin, Jeff Wilson, Darrell Williams. I'd play Jeff Wilson Jr. there. Thank you very much. Moving on. That was for Dan. Moving on to Christian Rodriguez. Says, start 2 receivers, Michael Williams, Michael Pittman, T. Higgins, Thielen, starting Burrow. I'd play Mike Evans 100%. Then the question is between 100. I mean, it's pretty much between Michael Pittman and T. Higgins. Oh, man. I think there's just as much upside in T. Higgins. That's why I've kind of slightly moved him up, but I think I'm still going to go Michael Pittman there. Thank you. So in the order, Christian, it would be Mike Evans, Pittman, Higgins, Thielen. Thank you very much. Just like it says on screen. I appreciate it, though. Dakota says Marcus Johnson or Khalif Raymond in a standard. I'd play Marcus Johnson there. Even if you're playing A.J. Brown, I'd still play Marcus Johnson. I cannot trust Khalif Raymond with a backup quarterback by the name of Tim Boyle against Cleveland. I couldn't do that. it would hurt my heart too much to try to throw that into my lineup. And yeah, I don't have enough good karma in my life to somehow. I mean, maybe you do, and Khalif Raymond will pan out, but I just can't. I can't do it. Let's see here. Allies sends in a question. Says, Deontay Johnson, James Robinson, Michael Pittman for the flex, full PPR. I also have Jeff Wilson in my RB role. Do I swap out James Robinson for him? To be honest, I'm looking at it and thinking to myself, it's relatively safe to go ahead, play Robinson in your running back spot, and just play Jeff Wilson play Robinson in your flex, keep Jeff Wilson as your running back spot, and you're good to go. Both those running backs are my preferred right now. I do like wide receivers in a full PPR, but I think these running backs just have so much, safer of a floor and just as much upside because, of course, the touchdown opportunity will always be there for them. Moving on. Michael Menes, another question, says full PPR, pick 2, Bateman, Golladay, Brandon Ayuk, Elijah Moore. I'd play Golladay and Elijah Moore going into this week. Thank you very much, Mike. Barry Curtis says, Terry McLaurin has a tough matchup against the Panthers. So is my flex Jeff Wilson or Terry? Even regardless of the matchup, I'm still playing Jeff Wilson. Doesn't really bother me. I still think that Jeff Wilson's the better play. Thank you. Barry, I appreciate that. Eduardo says, Hunter Renfrow, Emmanuel Sanders, Brian Edwards, Deshaun Jackson, or Kenny Golladay. I'm playing Hunter Renfrow there. Thank you. Alex Nava says, lost Cooper, need a wide receiver, Christian Kirk or Jarvis Landry? That's a good question. I mean, for right now, I'm probably saying Christian Kirk, mainly because, Jarvis Landry has his inconsistencies. He doesn't always get, the bigger upside play. If you're in a full PPR, I'm confident enough probably playing Landry. In a half standard, I just play Christian Kirk. Thank you. Aaron Sandez says, traded for Clyde Edwards, ? Also King Henry update, ? Aaron, I'll call King Henry later tonight. He's probably asleep right now, taking his beauty rest. But after Derrick Henry's awake, I'll go ahead and I'll give him a call. I'll ask him what his status is. Outside of that, in terms of traded for Clyde Edwards, ? I don't know what that means. Is that a question? Traded for Clyde Edwards, ? I don't know. Did you? Did I? I didn't trade for any Clyde Edwards. I don't want any shares of him rest of the season. So hopefully that answers that question. Thank you, Aaron. Appreciate it. Lorenzo says, Jimmy G or Justin Fields? PPR. Right now, Jimmy G's at 15, Justin Fields at 16. I think Jimmy G has 3 consecutive weeks or 2 or more touchdowns, takes on Jacksonville, which I think is an advantageous matchup, and that's where I'm going with. Moving on, we have Hammond says, Wilson or Kirk? I have Cardinals defense, so I was wondering if it's better to start Kirk. I don't prefer I don't prefer Kirk Cousins over Russell Wilson. And regardless of your defense, I'm probably still going to play Russell Wilson at that point. Look, I still have the Arizona Cardinals ranked highly as a defense. I have them currently as my number 8 overall defense for the remaining teams for this week. So they're still my suggestion that you should play because you probably don't have the 49ers available or Cleveland available this week. So for right now, you just go ahead and you stick with what you have and play Russell Wilson. If you want to play Kirk, you can, but my suggestion will be Russell. Alex S. says, with Lamar out, should I go with Alex Collins or Bateman at the flex in a standard? I play Alex Collins. Thank you. Let's see if I can find this question. Pavan sent in a question or sent in a donation, but there wasn't a message attached. Pavan, if you can send in a follow-up, that would be appreciated in the chat right now. Outside of that, we're going to keep moving. El Huffster Game says, what up, Andrew? Nothing much. Hope you guys are all doing well. Again, just want to remind all of you, there's 1,000 of you in here. Remember, everything over here is up to date as of about 20 minutes ago, in which we were given information that Lamar Jackson is not going to play. I went in there and I re-updated it. Otherwise, these are my updated rankings as of today, November 21st, 2021. Half PPR, top 36 running backs, wide receivers, top 16 quarterbacks, and tight ends. Do with it what you must. Outside of that, I'll be answering questions. Please do click the like button. Continues to help out the channel. Keeps me doing this content every single day. Do not forget, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We will be doing a live stream similar to this on Thursday morning because on Thanksgiving Day, there will be 3 games. So don't forget about that. We'll be there trying to help you guys out next week as well. All right. Pavan says, here's my message, bro. Beard's looking good today. Okay, thank you. Pick one PPR. Bateman, Mooney, Claypool, or Donta Foreman. Of that group, my assumption is that there's not going to be an Allen Robinson today based on the fact that he didn't practice at all this week. And even if he does play, he's probably going to be a distractionary play. So I'm playing Mooney there. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. L. Hofster Games says, Carolina defense or San Francisco? I have San Francisco ahead of Carolina this week in my overall rankings. So I'd play San Francisco defense against Jacksonville. Thank you. George Velasquez says, full PPR. Lamar Jackson is out. So would you still play Mark Andrews or Cole Kmet in his place? This is the difficult part about backup quarterbacks that I know little to nothing about. I have no clue if he is going to be able to function the offense as well. Probably not. Is he going to target Mark Andrews? I can guarantee you he will, because Mark Andrews, without Marquise Hollywood Brown on the field, is probably the only guy he's going to throw the ball to. So that's why I feel confident enough still throwing him out there. Same thing with Hawkinson. It's the same kind of concept. The tight end position is the quarterback's best friend. They run shallow routes near the line of scrimmage, and it's always going to be a little bit of that check down play, especially considering Baltimore doesn't have a check down game, as they typically have their running backs chip blocking and pass blocking in order to keep their quarterbacks healthy and in the pocket. Either way, I'm still okay with it. If you'd like to play Cole Kmet, you certainly can, but I'm going to still roll with Mark Andrews tonight. Adam Pearl says, McKissick or Dan Arnold over Bateman at the flex. McKissick or Dan Arnold over Bateman. I think I'd be willing to play Dan Arnold there. I think Dan Arnold's just been super consistent as of late. He almost scored a touchdown last week. Literally was 1 yard shy. The play after, of course, James Robinson punches in a touchdown. Then they go for 2. He ends up converting the 2-point conversion on that quick little shovel pass as the tight end kind of runs behind the offensive line. So I think I'm good with Dan Arnold there. Adam, thank you. Jared sends in a question. Should I be worried about Mark Andrews? Wow, another one. With Lamar out. All I have are waiver tight ends. I would still play him. Like I mentioned, similar thoughts. Copy pasta. Moving on. We have straight urge, full PPR, Deontay Harris or Bryan Edwards. Great question. I'm going Bryan Edwards. Thank you very much. Tyler T says Newton or Tua since Lamar is out. I'm playing Cam Newton, like it says on screen. Thank you very much. Kenny Johnson says Higgins, Mooney, Davis, Gallup, wide receiver 3. So for wide receiver 3, I'm playing Higgins, Gallup, Davis, Mooney in that order. As for Gaskin or Jeff Wilson, I'd play Jeff Wilson this week. Thank you. Bakari, thank you very much, says start 1 for a wide receiver and 1 flex. We have Waddle, DJ Moore, TJ Hawkinson for a full PPR scoring format. I would play DJ Moore and Waddle. Those are my 2 suggestions there. Thank you very much. Logan says full PPR. Flex, Tony or Donta Foreman. McNichols is out. Interesting. That makes Adrian Peterson and Foreman even more significant plays. As of right now, considering Tony is such a question mark, and I don't know what to expect from him, I'd just rather play a guy that is getting at least 60% of the touches for Tennessee out of that backfield, considering they play Houston. So I play Donta Foreman there. Thank you. Pancakes or GTFO says full PPR flex, Gallup, Zach Moss, Darrell Williams, Foreman. I think I'm still keeping it with Foreman there. I think it's Foreman, then Gallup, then Darrell, then Zach Moss. Thank you very much, Pancakes. Elias sends in a question. Oh, I got to scroll back up. Sorry about that. Just updated randomly for some reason. Elias says, it's a great name. I don't know. I mean, Elias is a good name. Pick 1. Full PPR. Tony Pollard, CH, Alex Collins. All right. Out of those 3 options, I'm playing Alex Collins. I mean, do I want to play Alex Collins in this full PPR? Okay, no, I'm not. Let's think about this. If Alex Collins doesn't fall into the end zone, this man is literally not going to potentially score. And that could be super detrimental overall. Because if he only ends up with 60 yards, 6 points is not going to cut it. I think Tony Pollard could very easily in a full PPR scoring format. Even CH could. Let me go check here. I think I'm fairly certain of something. Let me check real quick. Okay. What was it again? It was Alex Collins. Man, I don't know what I want to do with Alex Collins, man. It's just so sketchy, but he could score. He very easily could score. All right, so here's my suggestion. I think if you're playing in a full PPR and you're trying to take advantage of every single reception that you can, it's Tony Pollard. Otherwise, you play Collins. I think CEH is the man in the middle there. So Collins is just the touch volume. Tony is the hope that you get a couple catches. If it's my team, I'm probably just playing Collins and just biting down and hoping that he figures it out. Caesar Navarro says, Saquon Barkley or Deontay Johnson flex, thank you. I'd play Barkley there. If you are a Barkley manager and you don't have Booker and you're worried about it, I'll give you, some words of confidence. Booker was, he was either not practicing or limited all week. Saquon was a full capacity at the back end of the week. Everything is trending towards him playing. Everything that I've read from beat writers is leaning towards him playing and him being a great play overall. So I would say your best suggestion at this point is to play Barkley. Let's see here. What do we have here? Okay. Moving on. Let's see here. Moving on. We got to scroll down a little bit here. Okay, cool. So after we do Caesar's question, we have Michael says standard league, Kirk Cousins or Russell Wilson. I play Russell Wilson there. Thank you. Solomon Reyes says Bateman or Renfro with Lamar out. I play Renfro. Whoever you say not to play, them or Saquon in the flex. I play Saquon 1,000%. Not even close, guys. Saquon for sure. Thank you, Solomon. Alex Nava sends in another donation, but there wasn't a question attached to it. Nava. Let's see here. There's nothing in the chat that I can see, so if you want to type something in right now, that'd be great. Otherwise, I'm going to continue to move on here. Let's see. All right, Michael Williams says, McKissick or Bateman now that Lamar is out? Oh, man, I probably would just play McKissick. I would want to play Bateman, but I don't think I can. The one week that Bateman is going to be given the breakout opportunity, Lamar's like, yeah, I'm gonna peace out, guys. Unfortunate, but that's fantasy football for us. All right, moving on. Jake B says half PPR, Hail Mary wide receiver suggestions. Very competitive league that are well outside of the top 36. No, wait, so you want me to suggest wide receivers? I can't do that, man. I mean, here you go. I'm going to suggest players that are well outside of the top 36. So, in fact, I'll start reading players starting at 48. Agnew, Traquan, Valdez-Scantling, Hardman, Rondell Moore, T.Y. Hilton, Laviska, Quez Watkins, Amon St. Brown, Khalif Raymond, Alan Lazard, Pascal, James Washington, Nico Collins, Devin Duvernay, Tyler Johnson, Albert Wilson, Gabriel Davis. There you go. I mean, that's all I can do for you, man. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Moving on. Kelly Barlow says, Antonio Gibson or Devonta Smith? Antonio Gibson. It's just safer. I think it's safer. Thomas sends in a question. Rashad Bateman or Deontay Johnson? Deontay Johnson. The Borch says Freeman, Brandon Ayuk, full PPR. Then Christian Kirk, Michael Carter, standard. Michael Carter in the standard league. Freeman in the full PPR. Man, I don't even... Do I want to do that? Is Brandon Ayuk capable of catching the ball 5 times? Let me see this. I want to check Jacksonville's secondary real quick, see if there's anything that's missing here. Because if we end up seeing a week in which Ayuk's catching the ball 3 times for 20 yards like he did last week, then we're in trouble. And we're not going to get anything done there. So you might as well just play Devonta Freeman. But I just want to check something. So, yeah, forget about it. Just play Devonta Freeman. Ayuk's on the bubble right now until otherwise noted. Bug-Eye, Buck Nasty says Carter, DJ Moore, Renfro, or Ingram. Pick 3 full PPR. Carter, Ingram, DJ Moore. Those are my 3 suggestions there, Bug-Eye. Appreciate it. Cam sends in a donation, but there wasn't anything attached to it. Let's see here. Cam Rothman, let's see. Okay, you sent in a follow-up question. Okay, cool. So we'll get to that as soon as we scroll down. Ivan Gonzalez says, Gesicki or Michael Carter, Tony in the flex going forward. Okay, so for right now, I play Michael Carter in the flex there over Gesicki and Tony. Thank you. Alex Nava says, standard league, Kirk or Landry. I play Christian Kirk there. Cesar Estrada. Let me see here really quickly. We did Borch. We did Kelly. Okay, cool. Cesar Estrada says, non-PPR league. Would you play Mike Williams on Sunday night or wait till Monday to play Saquon in the flex? I would much rather play Saquon in the flex. Need a win to secure the playoff spot. Thanks for your grind. Thank you very much. I appreciate the kind words. I'm playing Saquon there. Thank you. Sean Dean says, Bateman, Tony, or Rondell Moore. I'm playing Tony there. Thank you. No Chill says half PPR, Latavius Murray, Marcus Johnson, Adrian Peterson, Claypool, or Landry. Oh, no. Okay. My current suggestion is to play Landry, then Adrian Peterson. It could go back and forth in my mind where you go Adrian Peterson instead of Landry. But you're going to need a touchdown minimum to get past 10 points. And maybe you may not even get over 10 points even with the touchdown. So for right now, we'll just say Landry and we'll roll with that. But otherwise, AP is the next best in that group. Damon Smith says full PPR, Rashad Bateman or Kadarius Toney. I have Toney ahead of him right now. Lamar is out. Still leaning, even with Lamar out, I'm still leaning towards Bateman. What do you think? I mean, if you want to play Bateman, by all means, go ahead and do it. I don't know what to expect. Truly, I do not. Because Lamar is what has made the engine. He's the engine of that team. If you pull the engine out and you put in, some guard. I mean, I don't know what this backup quarterback is. Maybe he's the next coming, but I don't know. It just doesn't seem like it's an automatic start. I know Tony's not a great play either. So if you just want to go ahead and just try to take the gamble on it, then by all means roll with that. But my suggestion for right now would be with Tony. Appreciate it. Thank you very much for the generous donation again. Appreciate that, Mr. Smith. All right, moving on. Gabriel Camacho says, Jimmy G or Tua. I would play Tua there. That is my suggestion. Thank you. Brandon West, full PPR. Pittman, Waddle. Given buff defense and Waddle's targets, need a wide receiver too. So for right now, dude, in a full PPR, yeah, it's just safer to play Waddle. Just roll with Waddle against the Jets. It just seems like he could come out of this game with 2 receiving touchdowns and we wouldn't be surprised. Appreciate it, Brandon. Spawns says, lost Lamar in San Francisco. Lost Lamar in SF, Superflex. Flex Colt McCoy, Mooney, or Sanders. I would 100% play Colt McCoy. Thank you. Javier Chu says Bateman or Corey Davis. I play Corey Davis there. Thank you. Armen sends in a question. What's up, Arbor John? Full PPR, Gaskin, Moore, Gallup. In a full PPR, am I playing Moore or Gallup over Gaskin? No, I'm playing Myles Gaskin there. Thank you. Dom sends in a question. Full PPR, Tony or Emmanuel Sanders? I'm probably going to just... I'm going to play Emmanuel Sanders. I think Tony is great because there is no Shepard. But, dude, last time there was no Shepard, Tony got like 2 points and killed me. So right now, I'm sitting on that little kind of situation where I'm just not even interested in touching Tony. I'd just rather play Sanders in that regard right now. Again, really quick reminder, for those of you who are in the chat, everything on screen is up to date. Again, over here, up-to-date rankings, top 36 running backs, wide receivers, top 16 tight ends and quarterbacks. As of this morning, as of about, I would say maybe 30, 40 minutes ago, when Lamar Jackson's information was divulged to us, to the public. If there's anything else that comes out in terms of injuries, please let me know in the chat. Again, a lot of the questions that I'm answering via donation hopefully will help you get a little bit more clarity as to where you are going. But I'm going to try to get to those and then, of course, hop into the chat and see. I see a couple questions here in the chat. Again, Bateman is not on the list because I am super uncertain of his ability. And I don't feel comfortable enough suggesting him to you. So I just go ahead and I've left him off the list because I don't know what to do with him. Conventional wisdom would say, sure, he's going to catch the ball a couple times. But is that going to be enough compared to the rest of the overall wide receivers that I've mentioned? I just think that it's just not, it's not as secured as it once was just, an hour ago. other questions in the chat. Some random questions. Battlefield 2042 or Vanguard? Honestly, I've been playing Halo. I got Diamond 2 right now, and I'm climbing. I think yesterday I went 6-0 in just regular ranked open form. Obviously on PC with the controller and just aimbotting people just left and right because I'm a demon in that game. Anyway, moving on. We have a couple questions being sent in. Where the heck did those questions? Okay, here we go. So we just answered Armen's question. We answered Dom's question. Moving on to Abdul. Full PPR: Agnew, Deonta Harris, Alex Collins, Tony. Pick one. If I'm picking one out of that group in a full PPR, I am playing Kadarius Toney. Thank you very much. What the heck is this? Nothing. Okay, cool. Jeff sends in a question. Jeff Berkowitz specifically. Hey man, full PPR, Beasley or Gallup? I am playing Michael Gallup as your wide receiver 3. Thank you very much, Jeff. Didi says Williams, Devonta Smith. I'm assuming that's Darrell Williams. Williams' matchup is by far better than Devonta Smith. Thoughts? Also, Tua or Cam at quarterback. I need to win this week. Currently 6-4. Currently, I think Tua and Cam are very similar. I just prefer Cam because of that rushing upside, the ability to steal touchdowns on the goal line. Just makes me more comfortable playing him in that regard. Also, a little bit of a revenge game. There's a chip on his shoulder to say the very least. Coming back to Carolina against his former coach, all this kind of jazz. I mean, he doesn't have any bad blood against him, but should be fun. As for Darrell Williams or Devonta Smith, I think it is safer to play Darrell Williams in this regard, but I think the upside is significantly in the favor of Devonta Smith. If you're playing in a full PPR, I think I just play Devonta Smith. Half standard, we go Darrell. Thank you. Brandon Nelson says, start Seahawks defense against the Cardinals or Ravens defense against Chicago. I'd rather play the Seahawks defense against the Cardinals. Thank you. Moving on. MT sends in a donation, but there wasn't a message attached to it, MT. So let me see if I can find your message in the chat by any chance. Okay, so you sent in another couple after, so we'll go ahead and we'll scroll down to those in a second here. Thank you, MT. We'll get to them in a minute. Derek Barton says, full PPR, pick one, David Montgomery, James Robinson, Mark Ingram, or Deontay Johnson. Out of those 4 options in a full PPR scoring format, I am playing James Robinson. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, Derek. Or Dark. I don't know how, I mean, either way. Thank you. Cam says in a question, says Jeff Wilson or Mark Ingram in a full PPR. I'd rather play Mark Ingram there. Thank you. Michael Amato says, hi, Andy. Just tuned in. Is Bateman worth starting? I don't think so. Pick a tight end, wide receiver 3 in a flex. We have Bateman, Deonta Foreman, Elijah Moore, Tony, Ayuk, Arnold, Knox. The tight end is Arnold. The flex is Foreman. The wide receiver 3 is Tony. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Brennan sends in a donation, no message attached to Brennan. He sent in a question later, so we'll get to that in a second. JK says, Freeman or Gibson? We're playing Gibson. Thank you very much, JK. Problem Bless says, morning, brother. Wilson or Gibson? I'm going to play Jeff Wilson over Antonio Gibson today. Brendan Randalls follows it up, says, D'Ernest Johnson or Pat Freiermuth in a standard format? Great question. If we are going to see a scenario in which the Cleveland Browns absolutely destroy, 40-point bomb on the Detroit Lions, then by all means we'll probably see D'Ernest Johnson score a late touchdown in that game. So in a standard league in that regard, Big Ben and Fryer have just been killing it in the red zone. Can they get the job done? Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say I'm not going to rely upon a blowout for my points. I'd rather just have the safer overall player. Give me Fryer in that regard against a very easy matchup against the Chargers. Joe Barcelo says, pick 2, flex, Bateman, Claypool, Hardman. At that point, I'm willing to play Bateman and Claypool. I'm not going to play Hardman. Thank you. Let's see. Jesus Chavez says, Daniel Jones or Justin Fields? Justin Fields is my suggestion. Thank you very much there, Jesus. Appreciate it. Josh Nugent says, or win, I don't know. Either way. Half PPR says DJ Moore or Jalen Waddle. Got to choose one. Goodness. How about that, huh? The 2 players that I think are back-to-back in my rankings, am I right? I have DJ Moore at 17. I have Waddle at 21. That should answer your question. I'm going with DJ Moore there. In a full PPR scoring format, I could see the argument for playing Waddle, but for right now in a half, we'll play DJ Moore. Thank you. Alejandro sends in a question. DK Metcalf, CeeDee Lamb, Jamar Chase. Those are the three options there. Which two wide receivers should I play? I'm going to play Lamb and Chase there, and I'd leave DK on the bench. That sounds disgusting in my mind because who the heck leaves DK Metcalf on the bench? But those are your current options, and that's where I would go with. Thank you. Jorge Perez sends in a cool donation, but there wasn't a question attached to it. There's no question attached to it, Jorge. So if you want to send something into the chat right now, that'd be great. I'll keep an eye out for that. Pocket Sand says, pick 3, Devonta Smith, Tyler Lockett, Kittle, or Waller. If I'm picking 3 out of that group of players, holy moly. Kittle, Lockett, automatic. If it's between Devonta Smith and Waller, oh, goodness. Let me check something real quick. Let's see Cincinnati real quick for a second. I'm actually curious. Where is Cincinnati in this regard at tight ends? Okay, Let's play. Wow. Do I want to play him? Yeah. All right. Let's play Kittle, Waller, and Lockett. Thank you. Pockets in. Dale Derrick says full PPR. Andrews or Eckler at the flex. I'm playing Eckler 1,000%. By the way, this is a 2 flex. I have CeeDee Lamb in my other flex and Schultz at my tight end. You're good to go there. Let's get it. Moving on. We have MT with the follow-up question that he had from earlier. Pick 2, Mooney, Corey Davis, Wentz, or... Okay, so... I'm so confused. Mooney, Corey Davis, Wentz, or Daniel Jones? I'm 1,000% playing Daniel Jones and Wentz. 1,050%. I would put my life on it that those two could score more than any other two combination. It's the quarterback position. There's just too many points to be involved there. Sir Shifty says Pat Fryer or Bateman. Sounds good? Yes, I would play Pat Fryer over Bateman. Christian B says any adjustments, Brady/AJ Dillon. We have Deontay Johnson. We have Deontay Harris. We have Ertz. We have Kelsey. We have Cam, Ingram, Evans, benches, Bateman, Elliott, DJ. Wait, what? Christian, I don't understand this question. So you're telling me you're benching Ezekiel Elliott and DJ Moore and David Montgomery? What? Why would you do that? Here's my suggestion, Christian. You look right over there on screen, and the answer is right there. Perfect. So yeah, you'd be playing Brady, Zeke, AJ Dillon. Deontay Harris would go into the garbage can. DJ Moore would start ahead of him. You'd play Pat Fryer over Ertz, David Montgomery at the flex, and you're good to go. Thank you very much. Leroy sends in a donation, no question attached. All right, Leroy in the chat says Devonta Smith or Gallup since Amari is out. I think I'm still going Devonta Smith there. I think Gallup is a great play based on where I have him ranked on screen, but certainly still leaning towards Devonta Smith there. Appreciate it. Who was I looking for earlier? It was Jorge Perez. Let's see if he sent anything in into the chat. Okay, Jorge says, need one running back and one flex. I have CH, Darrell Williams, D'Ernest Johnson, Rashad Bateman, Michael Gallup, Devonta Smith, or I can get Donta Foreman. Okay, so if you have CH, Darrell Williams, D'Ernest Johnson, Rashad Bateman, Michael Gallup. Okay, so if we're playing one running back and one flex, I would much rather prefer to play a running back of the caliber of, I mean, you could just play Darrell Williams and you're fine there. I think you're perfectly fine playing Darrell Williams there. As for your flex, I think you just play Michael Gallup there and you're good to go. Thank you very much. Actually, no, it's Devonta Smith. No. Yeah. Scratch that. You play Devonta Smith at the flex, Darrell Williams at your running back. That's where you go. Thank you. Sorry. There's a lot of names there. Began to confuse me for a sec. All right. Again, really quick, want to remind you guys, 900 of you in here. If we can get 3 more likes, we get to what? 500. Be greatly appreciated. Everything on screen is updated rankings. Follow it as such. Otherwise, play it the way you want it. These are my suggestions. These are not the end-all, be-all. If these were 1,000% accurate, I wouldn't be here on a Sunday morning. I'd be in Vegas, putting it all in black if I could predict the future. But that's the entire point. We can't predict the future. There's a lot of variables to take into account. There's a lot of injuries. There's a lot of different scenarios that will happen that unfortunately won't have this list be 1,000% accurate, as despite all the research and the efforts I put forth in watching film, keeping track of everything and all of the above. Either way, Hopefully my suggestions help you out. Here we go. A couple more questions that were sent in here. After Leroy, we had Chris Rosado sends it a question. Carter or Kirk? I would play Michael Carter. Arnold or Knox? I'd play Arnold. Thank you. Chris sends it a question. Says full PPR Saquon or Mark Ingram? I'd play Mark Ingram this week. Alif sends it a question. Full PPR worth starting Waddle over DK? No, I'd play DK Metcalf. Cleveland or Miami? I'm playing Miami's defense. Thank you. Redron says, or Redron says, I don't know which one it is. I've been saying that for the last 7 weeks now. I haven't gotten a clarification on it, but maybe you could type it in the chat. Let me know which one. Is it the former or the latter? Moving on. Either way, your question was full PPR, Fournette, Ingram, Jeff Wilson Jr. Okay, so let's figure this out. Between those 3 running backs, I'm playing Fournette over them. So it'd be Fournette, Ingram, Jeff Wilson in a full PPR. As for the follow-up question, also Moore or Renfro, I'd play DJ Moore over Renfro. Been losing faith in Moore. Cam Newton will change that. Thank you. Mr. Goon 305 says Mark Ingram, Barkley, Cooks, full PPR pick 2. Mark Ingram, Barkley, or Cooks? I'm playing Mark Ingram and Barkley. Thank you. Sid Ramesh sends in a My Hero. You know what's actually a good show? My Hero Academia is actually fire. Oh, man, the next season is going to be good. I appreciate that, Sid. I don't know if you had a question. Maybe I got to check and see if you just didn't add it or something. Where you at, Sid? Sid says, Corey Davis or Rashad Bateman in the flex? I'd play Corey Davis this week. Thank you, Sid. Appreciate it. Moving on. Chris Moraga says, Renfro versus Cincinnati or Devonta Smith versus New Orleans? I'd play Smith. Thank you. Brian Messenger says, defense, Colts or Bucks this week? I'm going to play with the Bucks defense this week. I asked quarterback or tight end earlier. Keep up the great work. Appreciate it. Thank you for the donation. DeAndre Warren says full PPR flex, David Montgomery or Devonta Smith. I'd play David Montgomery. Thank you. Jorge Perez sent in another donation. We answered that earlier. Silver Soul Jones says keep grinding. God bless. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Greg Lira says help set my roster, please. We have running backs Austin Eckler, Jeff Wilson, Devonta Freeman, Josh Jacobs, Miles Sanders, followed by wide receivers Deontay Johnson, Jamar Chase, Deontay Harris, DK Metcalf. Start 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and 2 flex. Russell Wilson or Derek Carr. Okay, Greg Lira, here's my suggestion. Listen closely. I'm playing Russell Wilson at quarterback. I'm following it with Austin Eckler and Jeff Wilson as your 2 starting running backs. Your 2 starting wide receivers will be Jamar Chase and Deontay Johnson, followed by DK Metcalf in the flex with Josh Jacobs. Thank you very much. Good luck this weekend. Should be great. Cyberg says, Miles Sanders or Bateman? Oh, goodness. Why have you done this to me, Cyberg? Why have you done this to me? That is actually really difficult. Ooh, that's a really good question. I mean, at this point, I'm confident enough at that point just playing Miles Sanders. Just give me Miles Sanders. I heard Nick Sirianni earlier this week say, if it's between Miles Sanders actually playing or not, if we keep him active, actually, you know what? Scratch that. If Jordan Howard and Boston Scott and Gainwell are all active today, give me Bateman. But the question is, where's the active and inactive list? Let me see here. Eagles inactive list. What is it today? The 21st, 11/21. Where was the inactive list at? Let me go to Twitter because it actually makes a difference. If there's 4 active running backs, just give me Bateman. I wouldn't think it's worth my time to try to grab any of these other guys. Kenneth Gainwell is inactive. Okay, so that's the only notable one. Does that matter? Man, is he going to just split carries? Just go Bateman. Just go Bateman. We'll figure out what the heck, Sanders is next week. I just can't. Right now, let's just go Bateman. Damn. If they had made Boston Scott or Jordan Howard, specifically Jordan Howard, if they made him inactive, I'd have so much confidence playing Sanders, but now I just can't. Jesse Guevara says, Lockett, Gallup, Bateman, pick 2. Gallup and Lockett are my suggestions. Thank you. Link O says, what's up, Andrew? How's it going? Hope you're doing well. Pick 1, Ingram, Conklin, rest of season. Conklin's my suggestion. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Jason Sommers says, got absolutely murdered by injuries. Need to pick one for the flex. Tyler Boyd, Agnew, or T.Y. Hilton. Currently, I have Tyler Boyd the highest of the group. Thank you. Fainsky says, just saying thanks for all the help. Your advice and research always been top tier. Good luck to everyone. Thank you very much, Fainsky. I appreciate the kind words and the good luck. I mean, we definitely are going to need it this week. Kent says, half PPR, Darrell Williams or Tony? I'd play Darrell Williams. Thank you. Chill Will says, PPR flex, pick 2. Ayuk, Knox, Gronk, Godwin, Ingram. I'm playing Godwin and Ingram. Not even close. Automatic plays. Let's see here. Fanol Fabulas says, Ingram without 2 starting tackles, Jeff or Corey Davis. I'm still good with Ingram. Even without 2 starting tackles, I'm rolling with it. They've got good enough personnel on that team to where they can get it done. And the PPR work is just, it's too good there. Rob Castle says, Higgins, Deontay Johnson, or Bateman. Deontay Johnson is my suggestion there, Rob. Appreciate it. Let's see here. Satoshi says, keep up the great work, Andrew. Thank you very much, Satoshi. I appreciate the kind words and the donation. DeAndre Warren, which defense should I start? 49ers or Cardinals? I suggest 49ers. Thank you, DeAndre. Guns and Butter says, Rodgers or Tua versus the Jets. Rodgers is a little bit hurt. Yeah, Rodgers is dealing with a toe injury. I still think he's the better play. Tua could very easily disappear with the potential of this matchup getting out of hand because either Joe Flacco is giving them incredible field positioning and the Jets cannot stop the run and just Myles Gaskin, Salvin Ahmed is just killing them up the middle, or it just becomes a game in which Tua is not able to drive the ball down the field because of the finger injury and it's just field goal, field goal, field goal, field goal. I'd rather just play Aaron Rodgers. He scored 7 touchdowns against his defense last year. It's very much so a similar defense. I think he'll be fine. Green Day only says, no Murray this week. Yep, there's no Kyler Murray. Should I start Big Ben or Danny Dimes? I'm going to play Danny Dimes this week. Thank you. Tootin says, full PPR, A.J. Dillon, David Montgomery, Deontay Johnson, Jalen Waddle. Who do I start? RB2 and wide receiver 2 in a flex. Okay, your RB2 is A.J. Dillon. Your wide receiver 2 is Deontay Johnson. Your flex is David Montgomery. Thank you. Gabriel sends in a question. Bears or Saints? What is this? Taysom Hill or Kyler? I don't think Kyler's even playing, so you'd have to play Taysom Hill. But if you're looking for like a super flex option, why not just go pick up the Ravens quarterback or Joe Flacco or Tim Boyle? Why play Taysom Hill who probably won't see the field? But as for the Saints or Bears, I'd probably just roll with... do I want to roll with the Bears defense? I just play the Saints defense. I just played safe there. Sandy sends in a question, full PPR, Evans or Waddle? Waddle has a good matchup. So does Evans. I play Evans there. Thank you. Someone in the chat, Xavier says, kicker question, Zane Gonzalez or Sanders? I have literally Jason Sanders 1 spot ahead of Zane Gonzalez this week. Thank you. Arizona or Browns this week, says Asher. I would play the Browns defense. Thank you. I'm just looking at the chat, guys. Let's let it roll, see what I can find here. Adrian Peterson or DJ Moore? I'd probably just play the receiver there. Ingram or Jeff Wilson? Worried about Tony Jones? I'm not worried about Tony Jones. But if you are, you can go ahead and play Wilson. There's no problem with that. I think he's just as good of a play. How do we rate Huntley? No clue. Absolutely 0. At this point, I'm just hoping that he just throws the ball to Mark Andrews. That's it, purely. As long as this man throws the ball to Mark Andrews, I got no problem with him. Tommy sends in a question. Says, who do I start in the flex? Mike Gesicki or Jeff Wilson? I'm playing Jeff Wilson Jr. Thank you very much. Jonathan Perez says, non-PPR Carter or Saquon? I'd probably just play Carter there. How do you feel about Hawk? I think Hawk's in a similar situation, John. In regards to the backup quarterback, I have no idea what Tim Boyle is capable of. But I know that TJ Hawkinson is a very easy target to throw the ball to. Big body, big wingspan, and is often finding himself open. If he has a better quarterback, or at least better quarterback play in comparison to what Jared Goff's kind of been putting forth as of late, I think he should be perfectly fine. Obviously, a little bit of a downgrade from his initial position this week, but nonetheless, still a good play because of how good he is as a tight end. And he doesn't need to rely on touchdowns. That's what's kind of separated him this year. Pittman or Gibson in the flex? I mean, if you're playing in in a half PPR, I think Gibson's probably the safer play, mainly because if Pittman doesn't score a touchdown, it's all for nothing. Because I don't know if, I think Gibby's just the role there. Darrell Williams or Bateman? I'm playing Darrell there. All right, a couple questions came in here. Ahmed E says, pick a flex in a standard league. We have Devontae Freeman, Robbie Anderson, or Marvin Jones Jr. In a standard league, if Devonta Freeman doesn't score a touchdown, he ends up with yardage. I think I'd rather just play a wide receiver there, hope to get the yardage and the ability for an upside touchdown. In this position, it would be Robbie Anderson. In a vacuum, you probably just play Freeman and hope. So for right now, conventional wisdom will suggest Devonta Freeman, then Robbie Anderson, then Marvin Jones. If you're looking for that potential upside and you hope that one of these wide receivers is going to do it, I'd say that Robbie Anderson is more inclined to do so. But otherwise, let's just roll with Freeman because, he's the running back. The touches could be there on the goal line. You never know. You may think, the Ravens are never going to be able to score. If Justin Fields fumbles the ball on his own 5-yard line and the Ravens recover, guess what's going to happen? They're going to punch the ball in, There's so many different things in this game that can always change the outcome. Cam Mendoza says, Foreman or Freeman? Foreman, 1,000%. Cam, appreciate it. Steven Hairston says, Knox or Fryer? Muth, I'd play Fryer there in a full PPR. I also have Goddard. I'd still play Fryer. Thank you very much there, Steven. Appreciate it. Roberto Garcia says, flex, ? Foreman, Miles Sanders, Renfro, Lockett, Gallup. Good question. If we're playing in a half PPR scoring format, I want to play Foreman, but I think it's just Lockett there for the upside. Because Adrian Peterson's still there. I think I just go Lockett there. Moving on. Chill. Oh, wait, no, sorry. There was another question. Wait, what the heck happened? Okay, that was Roberto. Sorry. Sab5128 says, need a win this week. Would you okay, who do I play? It says Keenan Allen or DeAndre Swift. I'd play Keenan Allen. Thank you. Jorge Perez says, Kyler playing today, ? I have no clue. My expectation is that he does not play today. Carr or Newton or Cousins? I'd play Newton, Carr, Cousins in that order. Like it says on screen, guys. Again, reminder, 866 of you in here. Ladies, gentlemen, children, women of all ages who are here participating via the live stream, sending in questions. Whether you're not, you are sending in questions. Maybe you're just absorbing information via listening. I appreciate you guys being here. Again, everything on screen is up to date. Trying to help you guys out as much as I possibly can, and that's the entire purpose of this channel. I want to help you guys win, of course. But there's so many of you that I cannot answer every individual question. If I had to, I can assure you, because I've done it in the past. You go back to a couple years ago, Andrew would spend probably 12 hours on a Saturday answering questions. 12 hours. Imagine that, right? And I didn't get paid for a single one of those. So I know how long it would take. It would almost, it would take a long time, okay? Say the very least. But either way, appreciate it. I would play Newton over those other gentlemen. I don't expect Kyler to play. If Kyler plays, he'll start, but I don't think he's playing. Okay, so there was another question that was sent here by Abhishek V. Says, pick 2, half PPR. We have Deontay, Lockett, or Gallup. I'm going to play Deontay and Lockett. Thank you very much. Chill Will says, 1 point per reception. Brandon Ayuk, Dawson Knox, Gronkowski. I'm going to play out of that group, Dawson Knox, followed by PPR, Ingram or Godwin. I would play Godwin. Thank you. Godwin is probably going for 20 points this week. In a full PPR, I think Godwin goes for 20. No joke. Lamar Flores says, Schultz or Dan Arnold at the tight end position. With Cooper out, I think Schultz has a little bit of a bump today. And he plays against the Chiefs, who are terrible against tight ends. 100% playing Schultz. Cooper's out. Arnold has gotten a lot of targets as of late. Yeah, the targets have certainly been there as of late, but I think the Cooper being out in the matchup against Kansas City leans in the direction of Schultz. Justin sends in a question, says Jeff Wilson or Michael Carter in a full PPR scoring format. I don't know if I moved up Michael Carter that much in a full PPR. I have him literally at number, is he the same spot? I moved him up a couple spots, but he is still behind Jeff Wilson in a full PPR. I like Joe Flacco. I know Joe Flacco likes to target running backs, but I think Jeff Wilson is he's too safe of a play right now this week. So that's where I'm going with, Justin. Weston Winters sent in a question. Sent in a donation. There wasn't a question attached to it. All right, Weston. Sit one, half PPR. Ty Johnson, Adrian Peterson, CEH. I would sit Ty Johnson. I'm going to play CEH and Adrian Peterson there. Thank you, Weston. I appreciate that. It's interestingly enough, I had a friend. His name is Weston Walker. Weston Winters. Very interesting. Moving on. Evan Anthony says, Cam, Huntley, or Tua. I'm playing Cam. Thank you. Jeff Berkowitz says, defense. Browns, Packers, Washington, Seattle, New Orleans. Browns is my suggestion against the backup quarterback. Poner Kills All Troll says, Huntley or Justin Fields? It's Justin Fields, 1,000% there, Poner. Let's see here. Troy sends in a question. Edwards-Helaire or D'Ernest Johnson? Edwards-Helaire is my suggestion. Thank you. Isaac Nepstad says, half PPR, need upside. Beasley, Freeman, Callaway, Arnold. I think the biggest upside of this group is probably Beasley or Arnold. I'd go Beasley there. Thank you. Drunk Muppet says, Montgomery, Chase, or Lamb in the flex. If I have to play one, I'm playing CeeDee Lamb. Thank you. Umer C says, Higgins, Mike Williams, or Brandon Cooks. I mean, I'm not playing Mike Williams over those two other gentlemen. If it's between Brandon Cooks and T. Higgins, I'm probably just rolling with Brandon Cooks. Like it says on screen, he's slightly ahead in a half PPR, would continue to stay on that pace in a full PPR, and probably has just as much upside in his standard. So we're good to go there with Brandon Cooks against Tennessee's terrible secondary. Moving on. What do we got here? Jaw-dropping comedy says, terrible week. Need a win, half PPR. We have to start two between Marvin Jones, let's see here, Emmanuel Sanders, and Chase Claypool. Yeah, that is actually really bad. But luckily, I'm confident enough playing Emmanuel Sanders and Claypool there. Those are my two suggestions. Thank you very much. Jackson Motivational Hub says, James Conner or Devonta Smith in the flex. I play James Conner there. As for Lockett or Waddle, I play Lockett. Thank you. Jay Riz says, Waddle or Montgomery PPR. I play David Montgomery. If you want to play Waddle, certainly can. If he doesn't score a touchdown, I don't think he can catch Montgomery. Martin S says, Bateman or Goddard. I play Goddard there. Thank you. Shane sends in a question, says PPR. Wide receiver 2 is Bateman with Lamar out or Elijah Moore. I'd go Elijah Moore there. Thank you. Itty Bitty South City 605 says, half PPR, 5-5 record, 2R, 1T, 2 flex. So 2 running back, 1 tight end, 2 flex. I'm assuming that's what you mean. Sorry, 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, 1 tight end, 2 flex. Thank you. All right, here we go. We have McLaurin, Bateman, Mooney, Agnew, Moore, Tony, Kamara, Harris, Connor Wilson Jr., Darrell Williams, Foreman, Trotman, Everett. Okay, cool. Perfect. I know exactly where we're going here. All right, itty bitty. We're going James Conner at running back, followed by Jeff Wilson at running back, Foreman at flex, along with Darrell Williams at flex. Tight end is Adam Trotman. Wide receivers are McLaurin and Moore. Thank you very much. Good to go. Evan KY says, pick 2, Elijah Moore, Ayuk, Goddard, Robbie Anderson, Emmanuel Sanders. Of that group of players, I think I'm playing Elijah Moore. And is it Elijah Moore or is it Emmanuel Sanders? Where's my rankings here? Where do we have Elijah Moore next to? Elijah Moore's below him. All right, we're going to Emmanuel Sanders then. In that case, I will trust Andrew of last night to have better judgment of Andrew of this morning. So I go Emmanuel Sanders there, then Elijah Moore. So those are the 2 suggestions. And then Robbie Anderson, Goddard, Ayuk. So Sanders and Moore are my suggestions. Thank you very much, Evan. G. Snyder says, thanks for your work, Andrew. Full PPR, Michael Carter or Michael Gallup. I play Michael Carter there. Thank you very much for the kind words and the donation. Appreciate it. Let's see here. Troy sends in another question. Half PPR, Landry, Pittman, or Michael Williams. I play Pittman there, then Mike Williams, then Landry in a half PPR. If it was a full, we could have a conversation, but ultimately, I'd still play Pittman. Thank you. Let's see here. People in the chat. Let's see here. It's Goof says, Derek Carr or Cam? I'm still playing Cam there. If you want to play Derek Carr, you certainly can. I have him 1 spot below. So I think they're pretty much, identical in terms of overall value. The separation isn't significant enough to where I'm like banging the table that you have to play Cam. My suggestion is Cam, but if you certainly want to play Carr, you absolutely could, considering how bad Cincinnati's defense has been as of late. Let's see here. A couple more questions were sent in. Nick Ulrich says, half PPR rest of season, Freiermuth or Goddard? Based on what we've seen as of late, Fryer is probably going to have a little bit more upside going forward. That said, I think Goddard's schedule does ease up a lot. So if we can get into a position where you're comfortable with him in the fantasy playoffs, then he's probably got the better matchups. But for right now, getting to the playoffs, I think it's Fryer to take you there. Steve Alvarez says, full PPR, bonus points for big plays. Okay, understood. Looking for ceiling players. Wilson or Cam, I'm playing Wilson 100%, especially if you're looking for big plays. Lockett and DK Metcalf, that's their middle name. Moving on. We have Gesicki or Pat Freiermuth. I play Gesicki there against the terrible Jets defense, followed by DJ Moore versus Adam Thielen. I'll take DJ Moore over Thielen tonight. Good to go there. Those are my 3 suggestions for high ceiling upside players and guys that I'm just overall more confident with. Matha sends in a question, sends in a donation, but Matha, there wasn't anything attached to it. So let's see in the chat. What's up, Andrew? Full PPR, Lockett, Barkley, or Michael Carter? Do I want to play Lockett over Barkley? I don't want to. I think I'd rather play Barkley. And that's probably what I'm going to suggest. I think Lockett, there's a reason why I have Lockett. I think I have him at like 14th right now. What do I have? Tyler Lockett sits at number 14 for a reason. He has extremely high upside. But he has just as much, potential to be a terrible play this week and get you 6 points instead of 26 like we want. Definitely possible. So in that regard, I'd just rather play the Saquon, get the goal line touches, get the overall exposure to opportunity that is with him. And that's what I'd suggest at this moment. Thank you very much there, Martha. All right. Shane sends in another question. Says full PPR wide receiver to... Oh, no. I'm sorry. What the heck? That's the one that we answered earlier. So, yeah. Did we answer this? Did you send in one earlier? Yeah, you did. This is another question. My apologies, Shane. Appreciate it. Thank you for sending in a donation, supporting the channel. Michael Gallup or Elijah Moore. I play Michael Gallup there for sure. Teddy H says flex. Thielen, Carter, Brandon Cooks. Considering you did not mention a scoring format, I'm assuming it's half PPR. If it is, we're going Michael Carter there. Thank you. Trevor John. Let's see, Trevor. Did you send anything into the chat? Because there wasn't anything attached to your donation. Trevor John says Brady or Dak. I'm playing Dak. I mean, look, Brady's a fantastic play. I just think that Dak Prescott in a 4-point per passing touchdown league always has the ability to rush the touchdown in, get those extra yardage there. Unless Brady's going for 4 or 5 touchdowns, I think that's the only way that Dak can't keep up with him. But if they're both going for 3, I prefer the Dak in the shootout. Thank you. Ryan Kilpatrick says, is Lattimore on Devonta Smith today? Also have DJ Moore. Lattimore will probably be in the region. Sure. Is he going to follow him and shadow him every single play? Unlikely. But is that definitely going to play a factor in my rankings? It already has. I've already accounted for that. I still prefer... hold on, wait. Where do I have Devonta Smith ranked? I'm pretty sure I have him behind... I have him right above him. Okay, I'm about to say. Earlier this week, I had him behind. Listen. I'm 100% okay with playing either of them. I just think to myself, Devonta Smith has been in such a fire streak. If it just continues and I tell you not to play him, it's going to hurt that much more. I'd rather just play the guy that's been on fire. Let's see what this Panthers offense looks like. Let's just go Devonta Smith. If you want to play DJ Moore, again, they're ranked so close because I expect him to do the same thing in terms of production. So if you feel more confident playing DJ Moore, then do that. Because I expect it to be similar, overall production and opportunity. Thank you. Itty Bitty, South City 605 says, starting Fields at quarterback. What do you think about starting Mooney over Moore to stack? Stacks don't matter. Again, guys, I want to play the players that are going to score the most points for my team. Stacks do not give you more points. They just give you the confidence in just rooting for one team. I don't care for that. I want Moore over Mooney. Thank you very much. I appreciate the question. Thank you for the kind words. Thank you very much. All right, moving on. Troy sends another question. Says, this is just because you helped me be number 1 in my first league. Thank you, Andrew. Keep up the good work. I appreciate that. Thank you. What time is it? 9:44? Okay, we're almost there at the kickoff. Again, Let's see here. Junkie's Delight sends in a question. It says, PPR, Pittman or Ingram? Okay, if we're picking one out of those two, I've been talking about Ingram the whole day there, so I'd probably go Ingram. Renfro or Bateman? 1,000% Renfro. Thank you. Gavin Murphy says, Higgins, Wilson Jr., Pittman, pick 2 flex, full PPR. I'd play Pittman and I'd play Wilson. Thank you. Cy Gotham says, Justin Fields or Jalen Hurts. I play Jalen Hurts there. If you want to play Fields, you certainly can. But based on the rankings that you can see on screen, I have Jalen Hurts about 10 spots ahead of him. I feel pretty confident in the Philadelphia quarterback going against New Orleans this weekend. Moving on. Brandon Diaz says full PPR, Gronk or Ertz. If Gronk is active, I'm playing him. Just understand that I have Gronk at that position under the idea that you could potentially go get Cameron Brate or OJ Howard tomorrow if in fact he is not going to play, because he's questionable. He may not be active tomorrow. There's a very good chance that he's not. So for right now, you can certainly play Ertz if there is no OJ Howard or Cameron Brate available. Otherwise, you roll with Gronk and we'll see what happens tomorrow. Andy the Fork says, Monty over Jeff Wilson Jr. for sure, half PPR? Yes. If you're just sending it in to confirm, yes, that is my suggestion. I do prefer David Montgomery. If you want to play Jeff Wilson Jr., by all means, go ahead and do so. But for right now, I like David Montgomery there. Tommy Hennessy says, Renfro, a good wide receiver too. I believe so, yes. Especially in a full PPR. I think he gets a little bit more of a solid overall baseline of production. His floor is that much more consistent. But even in a half PPR, he's, as of late, kind of gotten himself a floor of like 8 points. So anything above that, always great. Guns and Butter says, Muth or Hawk versus Cleveland defense. Does Hawk disappear? I mean, Hawk disappeared last week. Is there a possibility he once again does that this week? Chances are there's a chance there, but chances are it's probably not. Either way, I still prefer Fryer. I think the Muth this week against Los Angeles, the Chargers defense can't stop tight ends. Big Ben's back, so I'm going to go Muth there. Lizzie says, Pittman, Mooney, Gallup need to. I'm picking Pittman and Gallup. Thank you very much. Jason with 5 ends says, Myles Gaskin or Jeff Wilson. I play Jeff Wilson there. Started Ramondre Stevenson already on Thursday and have Saquon locked in. So I can only choose one. Why do you have Saquon locked in? Either way, I would still play Saquon there over Myles Gaskin, but Myles Gaskin could end up being 25 points for all we know, based on the fact that they play against the Jets, for goodness sake. But either way, between Myles Gaskin and Jeff Wilson, I'm playing Jeff. Thank you. Rico says, Foreman, Darrell Williams, Bateman. I played Darrell, Foreman, then Bateman in that order. El Huffster Game says, full PPR, Renfro or James Robinson. James Robinson's my suggestion there. El Huffster. JT86TN says, Cam or Carr. 4 point per passing touchdown, 1 per. Yeah, the rankings on screen, JT, are currently for a 4 point per passing touchdown league, 1 point for every 25 passing yards, 2 points per interception, just a standard league in terms of 4 point per passing. So, yes, I would play Cam over Carr. If you want to play Carr, you absolutely can. They are very close to my rankings, enough to where I don't mind whichever one you play, but I prefer Cam. Vic84 says full PPR. My McLaurin, Gesicki, Hawkinson, T. Higgins, start 2 and 1 flex. McLaurin, Gesicki, Hawkinson. Okay. McLaurin is my start 2, 1 flex. Okay. So if we're starting 2 out of that group, I'm playing Higgins and McLaurin, and I'm flexing Mike Gesicki. Thank you. McLaurin, Higgins, Gesicki. Chris Moraga says, PPR pick 2, Thielen, Cooks, Higgins. As you can tell on screen, I will be going with Cooks and Higgins over Mr. Adam Thielen. So that's my suggestion, Cooks and Higgins. Thank you. Coming into the chat, Andrew, Browns or Titans defense? Sean O'Connor, I have the Titans as my number 1 defense. I want everybody to listen up once again closely. Here are my defensive rankings for this week as of my top 7. Of course, excluding New England, who I had as my number 2 defense this week. My number 1 with the remaining teams is Tennessee, followed by number 2, Miami, number 3, Buffalo, number 4, Cleveland, number 5, San Francisco, then Carolina, then Tampa Bay. Okay, those are my suggestions if you're in need of a defensive play there. Thank you. Nick Glover says Waddle or Jeff Wilson Jr., Montgomery or Jeff Wilson Jr. in a different league. I play Montgomery, and then I play Jeff Wilson in the first one. So Wilson over Waddle, Montgomery over Wilson. Thank you. Appreciate it. Ertz or Goddard? Colby, I play Goddard. It says it on screen. You're good to go there. Again, a lot of the questions that I'm seeing, I know some of them are flex questions and they may not be answered on screen, but a lot of the questions can be answered via the rankings on screen, guys. Over there, bada boom, how you doing? Right over there. Another question got sent in. V-Line says, I have Lamar and he's out. Who would you pick up and play? Baker, Fields, Jones, or Big Ben? I play Justin Fields in that game. Pick up Justin Fields and play him. You're good to go there. Okay, let's see here. Pittman or Thielen? I have Pittman a little bit higher, so that's what I would go with. Again, a lot of those are on screen. I'm just trying to find the questions that are kind of unique that may not be there. I have Agnew and Crowder. Okay, here we go. The real blue. Agnew and Crowder, and I have McKissick. Where are we at here? On my bench, we have Callaway, Arnold, and Alex Collins. Should I make a switch and with Arnold and my flex or any kind of switch? So you have Agnew, Crowder, and McKissick in my bench for Callaway, Arnold, and Collins. Yeah, I would play Callaway, Arnold, and Collins over those three other guys on your bench. I wouldn't make any switch, Real Blue. You're good to go. Darren Chandler sends in a question. Says, Chubb, Debo, Chase, A.J. Brown, bench one, full PPR. My answer is no. I'm not going to bench one. I don't want to. But if I had to, I mean, this will be my my fair warning, Darren. If I tell you to bench a player and he goes for 20, it's not on me. I mean, none of these suggestions are really on me. You're the final decision maker. But don't be surprised if the guy I bench or tell you to bench right now goes for 20. So I'm going to say I'm playing Chubb, A.J. Brown, and I'm playing Debo. And I'm sitting Jamar Chase. But that's as deadly as he can get. Very easily, Jamar Chase could kill you. But hey, that's the whole thing. You got to pick your poison. And at this moment, out of all those guys, I think Jamar Chase has probably the lowest potential upside based on matchup. Sean R., you sent in a donation, but hey, there's no message attached. If you can go ahead and send a message right now, that'd be great. I can go ahead and answer that for you. Otherwise, I'm looking at the chat. Steven says, Crowder, Marvin Jones, or Callaway? I have Callaway ahead of them. I think I have Marvin. Let me go check. Where the heck is Marvin in comparison to these guys? I have Marvin, Callaway, and Crowder in that order. Let's see here. Sid sends in another question. Says Baltimore or Dallas defense? I don't think I have Baltimore that high. Maybe I don't even have Dallas. Yeah, just play Baltimore. You don't want to play Dallas against Kansas City. Not today. Let's see here. Bears or Niners defense? I prefer the Niners against Jacksonville. I think the Bears have a potential, but I mean they've got the issue with the Bears defense right now, Grace, is that Khalil Mack, all-pro defensive end, out. Middle linebacker, Danny Trevathan, season-ending injury. Their secondary's beat up. They've got issues themselves. They can certainly make plays, but I'd just rather play the better defense overall, which is the Niners, against a struggling Jacksonville team overall. Appreciate it. Let's see here. So Sid sent in another question. We got that. We're going to play Baltimore over the Dallas defense. Again, Patrick Mahomes will probably light up that Dallas defense if he's back to normal. Once again, Jemmy sends in a question. Says Goddard or Dan Arnold? Prefer Dan Arnold. Again, his target count as of the last couple of weeks has been incredible. He's gotten a lot of work. Could have very easily scored a touchdown last week and gotten himself into a position where not only is he scoring a touchdown, getting into that double-digit range very easily. If you're playing in a standard league, there could be a conversation for Goddard, but again, he hasn't really been touchdown upside as of late, so we're good with Arnold there. Steven Talbot says, worried about A.J. Brown, ? What wide receiver can I get for Henderson? These are questions for another time. Am I worried about A.J. Brown? No. You'll see by tonight's performance or today's performance against Houston that you should not be worried about him. As for what wide receiver could you get for Henderson? I don't know. It depends on who, players in your league. If I'm going after a wide receiver, maybe you go after like a DK Metcalf and see if you can get that caliber, maybe better, Justin Jefferson, esque player. If you can, try to go for the highest overall value possible. Sean R says, question in. Where is it? Let's see here. Sean R. All right, Sean, where's the question? Did you type it in the chat? Okay. Myles Gaskin, Edwards-Helaire, Josh Jacobs, D'Ernest Johnson, Darnell Mooney, or DJ Moore. Pick two right now. And okay, so two running back. It's not our. Yeah, you missed the B. Okay, it's no problem. Two running backs, two wide receivers. So of that group of players, I am playing Myles Gaskin and Josh Jacobs at running back, and I am playing DJ Moore and Mr. Mooney at wide receiver because there aren't more than 2 wide receiver options there. You gave me 2 wide receiver options. So, yeah, you're going to play Gaskin, Jacobs, Mooney, DJ Moore. Thank you very much, Sean. I appreciate that, man. All righty. What do we got? A couple questions in here. What do we got? What is this? Okay. Very good. Renfro or Higgins? Thakula. I would play T. Higgins this week. Thank you. Let's see here. Wilson or Wentz? Excuse me. At this moment, G-League, you have to play Wilson. I think Wentz against the Buffalo Bills could very easily be a matchup in which you're going to get value out of it. But is there a guarantee that they play well against one of the top defenses, if not the best defense in the National Football League? That is something that I don't want to test. I'd rather play Wilson at home. He's an underdog today in terms of the spread. I think they're like a 1.5 point underdog. Maybe the spread has already shifted considering the Kyler Murray, absence. I think Vegas is highly mistaken this week. I think it's a week to trust Russell Wilson. Thank you. Trust Rodgers with the toe injury. Jordan, I'm fine with it. I'm rolling him out there. I think he'll be fine. I mean, he didn't practice all week, so he's been off his foot. He should be good to go. Bills defense or Bears defense? Cornelius, I would play the Bills defense there. Thank you. AS, you sent in a question just a moment ago. There wasn't a message attached to it. If you could, type it in really quickly before the 10 o'clock, or if you're East Coast, 1 o'clock slate hits here. James Robinson or Lockett? James Robinson or Lockett? I just play Robinson there. Let's see here. Charles says Bateman or Ayuk. I talked about this a little bit earlier. I'm going to play Bateman there. Thank you. David Ramos says good luck, everyone. Thank you very much, David. I appreciate that. Everybody will need that luck. So we're hoping for the final and the best. Is my boy Fate in the chat? Where's Fate at? Fate, you in here? Kirk or Beasley? I would play Kirk in a half PPR standard. I play Beasley in a full PPR. Charlie says MVS or Uzama. I'd play CJ Uzama, actually. Mainly because the matchup is just so clean against the Raiders. All right, am I looking for AS's question? AS says Josh Jacobs or Devonta Smith in a standard format. In a standard format, I don't even care if you're an Eagles fan. That doesn't bother me. I think I'm just playing Josh Jacobs. I think if you just want the yardage and the overall upside of a touchdown, Jacobs is just easier to kind of trust in that regard. Thank you. Michael Carter or Elijah Moore, full PPR. Driz, I would say Michael Carter, 1,000%. Soccer Jack 12 says David Montgomery or Jeff Wilson Jr. I prefer David Montgomery, but if you'd like to pick Jeff Wilson, you certainly can. Evan Ingram or Ty Johnson? I'd play Ty Johnson there. I mean, look, I love tight ends against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I really do. It's a great matchup overall. But can I trust Evan Ingram? The dude catches like 2 or 3 passes a game. If he's lucky, he scores a touchdown. If he's not, he gets 8 points in a full PPR, 6.5 points. I'd rather just go with the potential garbage time of a Ty Johnson touchdown or something of that extent. Darrell Williams or Jeff Wilson? I play Jeff Wilson. Just like it says on screen, Jordan. You're good to go there, my guy. Again, guys, everything's on screen in terms of individual rankings per position. It's 9:58 a.m. here. And I don't even know how the weather is outside, but we're definitely going to go walk outside after this because this was quite the busy day, huh? I appreciate you guys all being here. Let's see if we can answer some more questions here. Appreciate that, Charles. Thank you very much. Renfro or Devonta Smith playing Jalen Hurts? I'd still play Devonta Smith regardless of whether or not you were playing Jalen Hurts there, Nick. So that's my suggestion, Devonta over Renfro, like it says on screen. Driz says, okay, thank you very much. Appreciate that, Driz. Cooper Stark says Montgomery or Michael Carter. I play Montgomery there. Michael Carter is a great play, but Montgomery's got overall more upside, in my opinion, in a half PPR scoring format. In a full PPR, there could be an argument or conversation regarding it, but for right now, we go Montgomery. Standard League, Darrell Williams or Mark Ingram. I'd play Mark Ingram. Deontay Johnson or Jeff Wilson in a flex full PPR. I think it's just safer to play Jeff. Football time, baby. That's right, John. That's right. Let's go. Let's get into it. Bateman or Moore? I'm playing Moore there. M exclamation point. Poker Lemon, I appreciate the kind words. Thank you very much. Let's see here. Isn't Rodgers' matchup better than Jalen Hurts? The matchup's better, but the upside of rushing yards, rushing touchdowns, that is what gives Jalen Hurts the upside every single week, and that is why I lean in his direction. D'Ernest Johnson or Miles Sanders. If you're thinking that the game between the Lions and the Cleveland Browns is going to be an absolute blowout, then D'Ernest Johnson's probably the go there. If you don't think that's going to be the case and you think Nick Chubb will just touch every rushing attempt, then Miles Sanders will be the play there. So right now, I have D'Ernest higher because I think it will be a one-sided affair there. And only, I think what we mentioned earlier, only Kenneth Gainwell is inactive for the Eagles. So that looks like Miles Sanders is sharing snaps with Jordan Howard and Boston Scott, which sounds like a terrible day. We'll see how it looks tomorrow. Maybe we'll be talking about it in a different light by the time we get to tomorrow's waiver wire and Tuesday's rankings. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I appreciate you guys coming in, supporting the channel every single day. You guys decide to spend your time here. I cannot thank you guys enough. That was a wonderful stream. You guys made it easy for me. Of course, asking some simpler questions. I mean, some of those were difficult. And unfortunately, some of us are going to have to deal with scenarios in which we're playing players that we don't typically want to go for because injuries are definitely going to plague us. But we're going to hope for the best. And, of course, good luck, everyone. I'll see you guys tomorrow. The games have already kicked off. I got to go check one of my lineups. I may have left an injured player in there. I don't even care. It's too late. Love you guys. Appreciate it. Until next time, I'll see you guys. Peace.